Ricky Knuckles. So Ricky Knuckles unable to haul in that pass, was just a little overthrown there. It looks like Morehouse will be punting the football early on. So the Dragons defense looking pretty good.
Yeah, I'm surprised there to see Sam's miss that. Was such an easy pass. I'm surprised to see that. Maybe just getting some first drive jitters out of the way, and hopefully he'll clean that up.
All right, Ahmad Isaac back to receive for the Dragons of this punt attempt. All right, there's the snap. There's the punt. Pretty decent punt. Got some hang time. Isaac calls for the fair catch, and he will catch it at the 42-yard line. So good field position for Lane right out of the gate.
Yeah, definitely what they needed here to start the football game out. Great field position, great energy, great vibe, and I want to see if they can respond from a subpar performance they had last week.
Right. I really like Reynolds at the quarterback, though. I really feel like when they moved the ball the most, it was Reynolds creating on offense. You keep the ball in your best player's hand. He had a lot of good chemistry with Isaac. Let's see what they can do today, and you definitely want to get Jeffrey the ball so he can run the ball as well. All right, once again, spread formation. Reynolds out of the shotgun. Jeffrey in motion. There's a handoff right there up the middle, and nice chunk of yardage there picked up by the Lane Dragons. I believe that is number 32 for Lane. Yep, that's Mr. Hill, the king of the hill, Justin D. Hill, picked up about 5 yards on the play.
Yeah, going back to Reynolds here. I'm interested to see how the defense responds, or excuse me, it looks like we got a flag on the play.
And this looks like it's going to be on the defense this time, so that's a change of a storyline already for Lane
Yeah,
because they had a lot of penalties against them last week.
definitely. Yeah, and I want to see Reynolds here. I want to see if he uses his legs or if he actually throws the ball. Like you just mentioned a second ago, last week he had a big game, especially with his legs. So
Yeah,
a lot of times it's because the offensive line just kind of broke down.
but it draws them in. The one touchdown they had was a 74-yard bomb that he found Isaac on.
Yeah,
So, you definitely want to go inside out, I guess, taking a basketball term. Draw the defense in, then get them back out over the top. Reynolds got two backs into the backfield, three wide, two out to the right. Out of the shotgun, looks like the mic is number 44 from Morehouse. They're sending a blitz. Reynolds picks it up. He turns it up outside. He beats one man. He turns it up to the sideline, very close to that first down marker, and that's going to be big for Lane moving the chains.
yeah, that goes back there a second ago. I was saying, excuse me, that Reynolds he's an elusive quarterback. He's an elusive player. He's a dual threat quarterback who can essentially do it all. He has a great arm. He has obviously you saw his speed there on that play, but he's going to be something that I think we ought to keep our eye on for the rest of the game, and he's definitely going to be a threat.
The thing is, when we didn't talk about his experience, he's a senior.
Yeah.
He's seen a lot. He's seen a lot of football, and he makes plays happen with his legs and his arm. You're absolutely correct. All right, once again, out of the shotgun, spread offense, two wide receivers out to the left, one to the right. Reynolds checking the defense out. He's checking for that Mike. It's 23 this time, the linebacker from Morehouse. Reynolds gets the snap, turns around, gives it to Jeffrey. There's flags on the field. Jeffrey's going to keep running because it might have been offsides. He picks up about a yard on the play. All right, we do have Laundry on the field.
I think I'm going to get him for a holding here.
It seemed like it took place before the play. I was thinking of false start or encroachment. And it looks like we have
Offside.
offsides on the defense, so that's a big play. Morehouse looking a little frustrated already on defense. The defenders picking up two flags early on, but I love what Reynolds is doing. He's taking his time. He's moving the ball down the field. And it's so easy to make the Mike Vick comparison because that's what you see when you see a mobile quarterback, left-handed, savvy. But I see a lot of young Vick in him, and let's see if he can lead the Dragons to a touchdown on their first possession of the game. He's joined by his fullback to the left, Jeffrey, and a running back Hill to the right. Spread offense. Looks like a 4-3 defense from Morehouse, and it looks like another offsides. It's a free play, and you might have a roughing the passer here as well as the offsides.
Yeah, this is definitely a good sign here for the offense. Is that the Morehouse defense seems to be struggling early here, but this was also a defense that gave up 30 points last week, and they also had a lot of penalties. So, I mean, it's kind of expected, especially with it being the first possession both ways, as the ref makes his call here.
Once again, you got offsides on the defense. So it always helps when the defense is helping you move the chains as well.
Exactly. So I'm curious. I want to see if the offense here decides to take a shot, considering Morehouse defense has kind of been struggling here. I wouldn't be surprised if they threw some kind of deep ball here, maybe to the end zone.
Yeah, they're a little rattled right now, so you definitely want to take advantage of it. I would even go with play action here
Yeah.
to draw that defense in because they're a little discombobulated. I like using words like discombobulated. It makes me sound smarter than I am. Reynolds checking in the backfield. He has a lot of protection back there. That might mean he's looking to throw the ball. Look for Isaac on this play. There's the play action. Reynolds is going to keep it. Nowhere to go, and he is forced out of bounds at about the 40-yard line. So that play was broken up from the start.
Yeah, there's just nothing he could find there. The edge was completely taken out. Morehouse's big defensive star, at linebacker number 44, Julian Turner, who had a big game last week. You expect to hear a lot of his name, as last week he led the team with 12 tackles, and he also threw in a sack. So I expect him to be active. But like I said, there was really nothing there from the offense. They had a lot of heavy set and a lot of heavy stuff going one way, and the defense just took it.
So 5-yard loss on the play for the Dragons. Let's see if they try to move it down the field. They've got a lot of help from Morehouse defense. Now they got to take it on their own right now. Reynolds, once again, out of the shotgun. Isaac out to the right with Hill behind him in the backfield.
Yeah, and they're going to get a timeout here by the Lane Dragons. But they gave him a cover one look, and what I was expecting there was to see some kind of deep ball or throw it some way to the one of the one-on-one wide receivers and let him make a play, considering the fact, like I said, that they're just in a cover one defense.
See, and that's what I like, the technical aspect of it. That's what your expertise. What position did you play a lot in football where you played?
I started off in high school. I played defensive end.
Okay.
Got all kind of honors for playing that position, and then as I transitioned to college, I moved to outside linebacker and went both ways and played inside and outside. This is actually my second semester here at Lane.
Okay.
But I'm currently a junior.
Okay, I got you.
I'm pretty experienced on the defensive end. I like to hit people.
Okay, and you guys are standing here next to him like I am. I wouldn't want him to hit me. I wouldn't want Tyler Newkirk to hit me. Put it that way. Big guy here, and he knows something about football. As you saw that cover one, I would have liked to see them try down the field as well.
Yeah, and I think if they give him the look again, I'm pretty sure, and it looks like they're going to give him a cover two look here.
And that's exactly the expertise for me, because all my expertise came from Madden, and I wasn't that good at that either. I basically called the same play over and over again and hope nobody scored on me. And hopefully Morehouse does the same thing right here with Reynolds out of the shotgun, set to receive the snap. The snap is on the way. Play action fake, naked bootleg. He finds Hill out in the flat. He's going to get a large chunk of yards, and he's going to be very, very close to that first down marker, maybe a yard short. We got a second and short coming up. Nice play there by Reynolds. Great play call by Coach Burrows.
Yeah, that was a great play, like you just said, going inside out, and you just mentioned some sort of play action to kind of get the defense to bite in and over pursue, and it worked to perfection there.
And that is a first down. Don't understand why the flags are moving back. But the side flag keeper was a little confused. He decided to take it back, but they earned that first down. And now they're getting ready to come down the field. They're at the 25-yard line right now. Reynolds catches the snap, hands it off to his running back, who nice spin move at the line of scrimmage, picking up about 3 or 4 more yards. That was Ryan Whitaker, the wide receiver freshman out of Cordova, Tennessee, Christian Brothers High School.
Yeah, that was a nice spin move, man. The defense I think the defense really just needs to settle in and be patient and let the game come to them. So far, I think they're trying to do too much. They're a little too anxious, especially on the defensive front. But I think if they just take their time, complete their assignments, and do what it is they're supposed to do, they could or could not be able to hold them here.
Well, you made a good point about the offense picking up the slack for the defense last. They still gave up 30 points. This defense is not a juggernaut. Maybe they're trying to overcompensate so they can make up for what the defense, what the offense did for them. And now the Lane offense is doing the exact same thing, trying to make up for their defense. And we got a situation on the field here. Lane was coming up to the line. I think they're going to have to burn another timeout. So clock management, timeout management being a problem for Lane right now.
Yeah, and it looks like they got the timeout in just before the delayed game penalty. But again, it was another possession another play where they had the numbers and they had the advantage, but just failed to recognize the clock and recognize the situation and get the play off.
All right, we're going to go ahead and stay through this timeout. Last week we saw the Dragons offense already looks a little smoother that it did. So you have to think film is a big part of preparation for the next week. Am I not mistaken?
No, it definitely is, especially when you come into a week with an opponent that's put up 34 points on the board, but also on the flip side of it gave up 30.
Right.
That's the first game of the season, so it's a lot of kinks you still have to work out both offensively and defensively. So they studied a lot of their own film, but they also studied a whole bunch of Morehouse film and figured out the holes, and now they're going to try to exploit them on both ends of the football.
All right, we're going to go back on the offensive side of the football for the Dragons. Hill looks like he wants the ball. I saw him talking to the official during the timeout. Let's see what Hill's going to do right here. Reynolds is set to receive the snap. He gets it. He's going to give it to Jeffrey. Jeffrey's going to hit it up the gut, and big play there. 10-yard carry, maybe 12 yards on that carry, but a great block by Hill. The running backs working together well on that play.
Definitely. Well, it's going to be a key thing for the defense. It looks like we're going to see two-headed monsters on both sides of the football. It's going to be a matter of what defense gets bigger in the chest and decides to make a stand.
I would say it's a thunder and lightning situation, but Jeffrey and Hill are very big gentlemen.
Yeah.
So I don't know, it's going to be double thunder right here. Reynolds set to receive the snap. He gets it, hands it off to Hill. Hill plows up the middle. He picks up another 5 yards on the play. So Lane sees a weakness in this defensive line, and they're going right for it.
Well, yeah, for the defense of Morehouse, my philosophy was when we always seen bigger running backs, I always like to take them out in the chest. Just go chest to chest with them, and if they run you over, they're going to fall over you. But just go chest to chest with them.
No huddle offense. Reynolds gives the ball to Hill. Hill tries to turn it outside, and just like you said, they went high on him and went low at the same time. They took the big man down.
Yeah, and that's what's going to be needed. They're going to have to make a gang tackle on these sized running backs. The gang tackling is going to be a huge point of emphasis here in this game.
So with a scat back or a quicker back, would it going for the legs matter more? What do you think as a defensive player?
Well, when you have a smaller running back who may be a little bit more shifty, you want to keep more of an even balance. Because chances are he's going to probably try to juke you and go around you. So, you're not going to be able to probably go through him, but you just have to be ready for him to make a move and then make any kind of play that you can.
Bet. Reynolds with the snap. This time he's dropping back to pass. Nowhere to go. He's going to take it up the middle himself, staying on his feet. He picks up about 4 yards on the play, but he's going to be short of that first down marker. So now we're looking at 4th down, and the field goal unit is coming on the field. Number 14, we didn't say his name on the kickoff, but it's Pena. He's going to try to put the Lane Dragons in front. Good job by the Morehouse defense to not allow that first down.
Yeah, that was definitely a huge stance considering the fact that Lane's offense started off a great field position, couple flags by the defense, and they were driving the ball down the field pretty well. So that was a big, strong stance by the defense for Morehouse.
All right, Pena lined up for the kick. The snap, the kick, it's up, and it is tipped. I believe it was tipped or blocked, so the field goal is no good. Big momentum swing there for Morehouse. Bend, don't break, right?
Yeah, bend, don't. That has to be a killer. That has to be a killer there if you're Lane's offense for having such a productive drive going down the football field, and the special teams just couldn't convert there.
Right, and I think it was kind of a blown play there towards on that 3rd down play. It looked like Reynolds wanted to drop back and pass. Didn't have anything there. Tried to create with his feet, but it was just too much traffic.
Yeah, the defense is, like I just said, the defense, they did what they're supposed to do. You can bend, but don't break.
Right.
And they stood strong, they stood tall, and they were fortunate enough to come up with a timely stop.
All right, man. Sims back at quarterback for Morehouse. They're going to try to have a better, they had to be feeling pretty good about their offense coming in until Lane punched them in the mouth. But how do you adjust now after getting punched in the mouth on offense? Sims, the 6'3", 185-pound quarterback. So he's a big guy over there. He can see over the line easy. He's joined by Dunn in the backfield. Out of the shotgun, Sims gets it, hands it off to Dunn. Dunn scampers to the outside, tries to cut back. Not much there. Picks up maybe 2 yards on the play.
Yeah, it looks like I think that's going to be another big thing if the people saw it there, his footing. Footing, because of a lot of the rain that came early on today, and it's a grass field, being able to control your balance and being able to be agile and move along the football field, I think that's going to be key. When the receivers and the backs make their cuts and different jukes and motions and spins and things like that, I think that'll be important.
All right, and you're right, that neutralized them. The lefty Sims looking out in the flat for a receiver. That was Ricky Knuckles. Is that not the coolest name of the game today. I think Ricky Knuckles might be the coolest name, but there was not a great attempt there by Knuckles. The pass was a little overthrown.
And see, I think his name is a little bit even more cooler than that. His name is actually Reese Knuckles, like the Reese's Pieces.
Thank you. I'm going to butcher at least 3 more names, so I definitely like you to be my pronunciation key. Reese Knuckles?
His name just got a lot more interesting. Hey.
Reese Knuckles. I just like Knuckles with the N. All right, we got trips to the left. Sims out of the shotgun, drops back the lefty. Looking, here's the screen pass, but it is not there because Lane's defense is still on point.
Yeah, that
a
was
week later.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. That was a great play by number 92 for the Lane College defense. Excuse me, I want to say his name is Brace McKenzie, who also had a big game last week.
I believe they told me it was Bryce, but I could be wrong. You got
Bryce McKenzie. That was a great job by him. That's exactly how you sniff out screens, and for on the defensive end, you can actually hold the back. When the running back comes out, you can kind of keep a little tug on him and keep your grips on him as long as you're in the back of the line of scrimmage. So that was a great play there, textbook.
Yeah, he did have a big game last week. Let's see if it's carrying over this week. The snap, there's the punt. Once again, a very good punt. Austin Isaac has to make a fair catch. It was almost knocked out of his hands. But Lane, once again, great field position for the Dragons.
Yeah, they're going to get another start here at what looks to be about the 42, 43-yard line here. So they're essentially in the same position. Now the offense gets a second chance to kind of redeem themselves and potentially put up 6 points here on the board.
Well, last time they got a little help from Morehouse's defense. This time out, they're going to try to maybe take advantage of it on their own. I like to see Reynolds definitely take a shot down the field, but he's going to need time to throw the football.
Definitely. And the first possession, they had a lot of places where they could have went where I like the one-on-one positions. They had a lot of one-on-ones across the board, and it looks like you're going to get something similar here. But I think, that's something to kind of look out for, taking advantage of the one-on-ones and where they don't have, when a quarterback doesn't necessarily have help over the top. So I'm curious to see if they want to throw it that way.
Reynolds with the snap, hands it off to Jeffrey. Jeffrey's taking up the left side. He has some green in front of him. He's turning up. He's turning on the Jets, and he could go all the way. Reynolds into the end zone for the touchdown, and the Lane Dragon crowd is going nuts. Great run there by Josh Jeffrey.
Yeah, that's a great play there by Jeffries. As you can see, the defense gave him a cover 0 look, which means there are no safeties deep back. So that means every wide receiver that they have lined up has only one cornerback on them. So, if that happens, that means you have no help over the top. So all they have to do is get past that one line of defense, and then that's what they did, their touchdown.
And then just the sheer athleticism, once he turns the corner. Beautiful job there by Jeffrey. 58-yard run. The extra point, though, was snuffed out, so 6-0 is going to be your score early on. But regardless, Lane jumps out on top and gets out in front.
Yeah, definitely a big run there, especially by Jeffries. For that to be a big guy, he had a lot of wheels to him. He was able to break away and use that breakaway speed. And he showed that he's not just power, he also has speed.
That was beautiful, man. And you see all that grass in front of him, but have that extra burst to turn the corner.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know if he had it or not, and he turned it into another gear as he went down for a 58-yard run. That'll help the stats out a little bit.
Yeah, it actually looked like while he was running, he was looking for somebody to actually lower his shoulder and run over. So I actually wanted to see that happen.
Yeah, but like you said, after that first layer, there was nobody there. All right, Lane getting set to kick off again, so 6-0 is your score in the first quarter of play. Got to get that special teams a little tighter right now because you could easily be up 10-0 right now. Hopefully those points don't come back to bite the Dragons.
Definitely. I was just about to say that the special teams, that's going to be like the underlying theme here early on because
big, man.
They leaving points on the board early on, and those points could potentially come back and haunt them.
You're absolutely right, man. You played football. Coming down the stretch, you start thinking about all those extra things that you didn't do during the course of the game. But as long as their defense is playing like that and the offense keeps running the football, we should see a very good game today. Pena with the kickoff, and it is up, and that's a nice kick. He got some distance on that. Back to return it is Dunn for Morehouse. Dunn taking it up the field. He's a little guy, but he has some power. He picks up a few yards on the play. Looks like he's going to be brought down at about the 29-yard line, and that's where Morehouse and Sims they're going to try to get their heads together right now because they're not looking like a team that put up 500 yards of offense last week.
Yeah, I think they're just starting out in a little funk. I want to see if they're going to be able to shake this little funk that they're in early on here. But I want to see if they can get their wide receivers going. The backs seem to not be able to get going thus far because of the Lane Dragons' defensive line specifically, but the linebackers as well. So I'm curious to see if they kind of test the cornerbacks and see if they hold true.
All right, Sims going to keep it himself. He's going to bring it up the middle. He's going to pick up about 7 yards on the play. So Morehouse, they're trying to make their adjustments on the fly as well. They've tried to run the ball with their backs. They've tried to toss the ball on screens and bubble routes. This time Sims keeps it himself.
Yeah, they had a trick play last week. They had a trick play where they threw a wide receiver pass. So I'm curious to see if they kind of dig back into their bag of tricks and decide to go with some kind of trick play to get some points going early here.
All right, no huddle offense. Sims once again out of the shotgun. Trips to the left. That seems what they like to run. They got a receiver in motion. That looked like a trick play, but that trick had no treat on the other end for Morehouse.
Yeah, that defensive line, they snuffed that out. They played that perfectly. Didn't over pursue. They stayed home. They stayed, the backside defensive end stayed home and was waiting on that running back to cut back to him, and he did his job perfectly. He fell right back into his lap.
Amir Smith, nowhere to run, also lost his helmet on the play. That's also a good sign that your defense is pumped up. When you start seeing offensive playmakers with no helmets on, that means somebody's hype on defense.
Yeah, it means somebody hitting somebody.
Exactly. All right, empty backfield right now, 3rd and 8. For Morehouse. Sims by himself back there in the shotgun, drops back to pass to lefty, looking to the left, the right the whole time, throws it up to his receiver. It's caught, but it's too far out of bounds. That was number 8 on the reception, Reese Knuckles. That seems to be his number 1 option, but unable to get him the ball once again.
Yeah, I think it'll be big to see if he can get him going. He had a decent game last week. I don't think he was able to get going the way he wanted to, but you can tell here early on that seems to be his number 1 go-to target.
All right, Ahmad Isaac back to receive this punt for the Dragons. Gotta be feeling good right now if you're Coach Burrows with the day. Not just the way the defense is playing, but how they're looking. They're coming off the field with a little spring in their step. All right, here's the snap. The punt is up. Not a very good punt. He shanked it just a little bit, but he gets a friendly bounce, and it's going to be down, at the 42-yard line. So it's almost like deja vu for Lane. They keep getting great field position.
Yeah, no, I think they just have to keep being able to capitalize. You saw they were able to score on their last possession, but, if they're going to keep getting great field position, they need to take advantage of it, and I think they have the opportunity to against a Morehouse defense that's kind of struggling here early on.
And there's a lot to say about playing with the lead. Last week, Lane never had the lead. They were playing from behind the whole time, and I do think it drains you a little bit, especially in these early months where this early part of the month where it's a little warm, it's a little humid. They don't seem to be looking that way right now. We got Stacks to the right, trip stacks. Is that what you would call that?
Yeah, a bunch trip formation. I'm expecting maybe a wide receiver screen, or maybe they could just be opening up for a run.
And there it is. There's the run. Jeffrey, why not give him the ball again? The big back plows ahead for about 2 yards on the play. So I think it was, like you said, just trying to open it up.
Yeah, I think Morehouse's defense, I think that'll be a play Lane to come back to later on in the game, because you saw the receiver turn and like he was going for a screen type motion. I think if Morehouse's defense don't pay enough attention to that, I think that'll be something that they could potentially take advantage of.
Now they're running it on back-to-back plays, so let's see what happens this time. Once again, trip bunch formation to the right. One back next to Reynolds in the backfield. Reynolds out of the shotgun, gets the snap, hands it off the heel. Once again, they did the exact same thing and didn't work this time. So 1 yard on the play there. So you got 3rd and 5 coming up now for the Dragons.
Yeah, I think now you see a lot of stick routes here in Lane's offense. I don't think they'll run the ball on 3rd and 5, although they've had success with it for the first two drives. But it looks like Morehouse's defense wants to stop the run here and kind of make the necessary adjustments.
No, you're good,
but
brother.
they're making the necessary adjustments here to stop the run and take the backs out of it.
They had 8 in the box on that last play, and that's why they stopped the run. They wanted to stop the run, and that's what they did. Let's see what Lane has up their sleeve right now. The senior Reynolds getting his offense set, bringing a receiver in motion. He gets the snap. He's looking down the field. He's going to take it himself. He's going to tuck it. He's going to run. He's running to the sideline, trying to get that first down, and he's right at it. And I believe, yep, he has the first down.
That's just great play. That's by the senior Reynolds. He used his vision. He showed what he can do with his legs, and that goes back to the dual threat ability that he has. And with him being able to use his legs, as you mentioned, like a Michael Vick type player earlier, and being a lefty, he's able to bail them out of a lot of situations. If the receivers aren't necessarily able to get open, or if things just break down, he is able to find enough space and room in order to, to make a play for his team.
All right, let's see if Reynolds can keep the chains moving for the Dragons. Offensive line doing a great job also, by the way. Reynolds, ball is tipped at the line of scrimmage, and it is incomplete. So Reynolds trying to throw the football. I like to see that. You got to keep it balanced.
Yeah, definitely. And you haven't seen too many passes here early on for the Lane College Dragons, so definitely a good thing to see. But I say if the run is working, I say why go away from it?
Well, I don't mind it on first down, especially if you were just going to go with the run anyway, because you're going to try to run it here and maybe pick up about 5 or 6 yards and give yourself a 3rd and 4. But I like seeing Reynolds. He has the ability. I like to see him try to use it and to keep the defense off balance. This time, 2 out to the right, 2 out to the left, 1 back in the backfield. That's Jeffrey joining Reynolds. Spread offense. Can't tell who that is in the slot. Isaac out wide. Reynolds sending his receiver in motion. Fakes the handoff. Reynolds is going to keep it himself, and he goes absolutely nowhere. Right back to the line of scrimmage. 3rd down and 10 to go. So not the best couple of plays early on in this possession here.
Well, yeah, it looks like the Maroon Tigers defenses have made the necessary adjustments here to make the stops, and it is 1 possession. So, not really nothing to really get too big about. But I think here for the Lane's offense, you could expect some kind of, like I just mentioned a second ago, stick routes, or you got to also watch out for the legs of Reynolds once again.
They had some success with some screens last week. I would like to see them break that out again. Let's keep them honest.
Mm-hmm.
Jeffrey back in the backfield with Reynolds this time. Reynolds drops out, rolls to the right, throws across his body, finds a receiver, but he's going to be well short of the 1st down on the sideline, and that's number 82 with the catch. Joshua Bunton, the freshman out of Arkansas, Earl High School, unable to get that 1st down, so Lane will be punting on this possession.
Yeah, that was just not much there for the offense. Reynolds didn't really have anything open or anything that could get down to the 1st down marker, so he took the check down, took what the defense gave him, and bring your special teams on and let your defense do what they've been doing.
Hey, the Maroon Tigers, man, they made some adjustments over there. You have to give their coach credit, their head coach credit for making adjustments as well, the defensive coordinator, not giving up the big run there. All right, back for the punt is Pena. There's the snap. There's the punt. Very good punt. Let's see what kind of roll he gets. And it's going to bounce out right around the 16-yard line. So good punt, net gain-wise. Not great field position for the Maroon Tigers.
Yeah, I want to see what if Lane's defense could keep it up here for the next minute and 9 seconds of the 1st quarter. And all signs point that they can.
I appreciate you throwing that out there. I have not done my job as a play-by-play man. Got one job to do. Time and score. 6-0 is your score. Lane on top with 1 minute and 9 seconds left to go, and before we take a break.
Well, see, Reggie, that's just teamwork there. I've been having a little hard time here for the 1st quarter, just getting my feet wet once again. So, you're just getting back into the groove of things.
Hey, man, you're doing great, brother. You're doing great. All right, there's the snap, direct snap to the running back. I believe that was done. They're doing whatever they got to do to try to put the ball in the hands of their best players. And, yeah, that was done on the direct snap. Sims actually lined up wide, so they tried a trick play there. No payoff. Lane's defense is locked in.
Yeah, I think that they definitely just have to stay locked in for the rest of the game. But I think we ought to see at least maybe 1 or 2 trick plays here from Morehouse, and looks like they're going to cover 1 look. Lane's defense is here, so I want to see if they're going to test these cornerbacks in the man-to-man situation.
35 seconds on the clock. Sims out of the shotgun, gets the low snap, hands it off to the back. Dunn. He picks up some yards, close to a 1st down mark. It's going to be 3rd down and 3rd and 3 coming up.
It looks like Morehouse's offense has found a little bit of daylight there in front in Lane's defense.
They sure are. They're going with the no huddle, so they're right back at the line of scrimmage. Sims surveying the field. Snap underway. The lefty looking for somebody to throw it to. Nobody's there. He's flushed out of the pocket. He finds a receiver, but it is dropped. That was number 5, Amir Smith, and he just did not haul it in. He had the 1st down.
Yeah, very surprising there to see Morehouse's offense decide to throw the ball on a 3rd down and really inches, not even a full yard. I thought at least there we'd probably see some kind of fullback dive or just some kind of halfback dive or QB sneak, anything to get a yard.
All right, man, that is the end of the 1st quarter of play in the books. Lane Dragons up by a score of 6-0. We're going to take a 1-minute break, and we're going to come back here on 105.3 Fox Sports Jackson. You're listening to Lane College Football. Oh, you good? Hey, man, you straight, for real. I don't blow smoke, man. You're doing good. Morehouse on the other end now, but they're still in the same position. Fourth down, so they will be punting the football. Also, Ahmed Isaac is back to receive the punt. He's about the 35-yard line. There's the snap. There's the punt. They don't bring a lot of pressure. Nice hang time, but not a lot of distance. Takes a, well, I don't know whose bounce it takes. Takes a neutral bounce. But once again, man, Lane College with great field position for the offense.
Yeah, I think, honestly, you have to look at it as Morehouse defense has been pretty lucky thus far. They've actually done a pretty good job considering the fact that Lane has only put up 6 points on the board. So I think the offense, is going to have to pick it up a little bit more, especially as the game keeps progressing. But I definitely think that Morehouse's defense has been doing a pretty good job thus far.
All right.
Considering the score. I'm sorry.
Yeah, speaking of defense, we got some first quarter stats there. We'll be reading those off throughout the rest of the second quarter. But right now, Lane's offense has to feel like this is a totally bizarro world compared to last week because they're on the field quite a bit. Their defense is getting them off, and they're getting right back on. So Reynolds, once again, trying to get his troops to the line, getting everything set. There's the snap. There's the drop back. Reynolds looking over the middle, doesn't see anything. He's going to take it himself, taking his time. Nothing there. I would like to see him throw the ball away right there. He loses about 3 yards on the play just going out of bounds.
Yeah, definitely. That's one I see where he just kind of lost his focus and got his eyes caught down the field looking too long. But definitely he has to get rid of that. And considering the offense is already in good field position, he can't afford to lose 3-4 yards on that play.
Right, and I keep seeing you out of my peripheral. That's another word I like using to show I went to college. I keep seeing you out of the corner of my eye. You're seeing open people downfield every time, aren't you?
Yeah, he just has to scan the field. I think that's one thing he's doing too much is he leaving the pocket a little bit too early. I think the offensive line is doing a better job, not necessarily the greatest of job, but they're doing a better job. And I think if he just stands in the pocket another half a second to second longer, he'll be able to see a little bit more.
Or you can just hand it off to this big back Jeffrey, and he gets you back to your original line of scrimmage. So you got 3rd down and 10 coming up for the Dragons.
Yeah, definitely. 3rd and 10, I think right here it'd be a play where, like as you mentioned a little bit earlier, screen. So if I was Morehouse's defense, I'd be a screen alert, or looking for some kind of post or some kind of dig routes to come across the middle to exploit this what looks to be a cover 2 defense. You find the holes in the cover 2.
All right, and there you're right. There's the cover 2 defense. That's what I always call on Madden. It never seems to work. Let's see if it doesn't work right here for the Maroon Tigers as Reynolds gets set to try to pick up a first down here because they definitely want to keep the chains moving. Reynolds out of the shotgun. He's going to drop back. He's looking to his right. Nothing there. He steps up in the pocket like you wanted him to do. He avoids one defender. He's out, and then he goes down on that wet turf, still semi-wet, as he loses yards, and looks like Lane Dragons will be forced to punt once again.
Yeah, Morehouse's defense did a great job there. They showed a cover 2 look as a disguise, and then they went into a cover 0 where they switched and they showed a little bit of pressure, and they brought a blitz off of the edge to throw a little bit of pressure at Reynolds, and I think that was a great defensive play there, a great defensive stance, excuse me.
All right, and we got Tamarick Vanover is going to be back to, this is Tamarick Vanover Jr. I remember a Vanover back in the NFL a few years ago, and it might be his son. I don't know. I'm going to do a little research on that and try to find out. And he was a pretty good kick returner for Kansas City back in the day. Let's hope that the Genes don't run deep here. High snap there by the Dragons. Pena just boots it scrambling-wise, and it actually turns into a pretty decent punt. It's going to be down at about the 32-yard line, and that's where the Maroon Tigers will take over.
Yeah, going back to Vanover there, his dad actually played on Florida State's teams that actually won the championships. And as you mentioned, he was in the NFL. He was a stud.
Hey, and that's what I was saying. I hope the jeans, I would keep it away from him because I remember Tamrick Vanover. He was awesome. And I'm not going to lie with you right now, Tyler. I feel so old because I remember watching that young man play, and now I'm watching his son. I'm calling his son's football game. So, and I'm not even that old. I just feel that old.
Yeah, and he has a brother on the team, too, number 26, Diedrich Vanover, who's a 5'10", 170-pound junior.
Sometimes the genes are just real, man.
Strong genes.
Unless you're Michael Jordan's son, because apparently I think he stopped growing at 6'2", from what I remember. All right, Maroon Tigers got the football, and now Sims is going to hand it off to number 2. And if I'm not mistaken, that is Frank Bailey Jr., who has not had much action. That two-headed monster you talked about has been held in check so far today.
Yeah, after having a big game last week, as we mentioned earlier, they seem to be getting into a groove here. They haven't had anything break too big, but they've been able to pull off some 4-yard, 5-yard, 6-yard little dingers here and there. So I think they're slowly but surely trying to get their groove back here today.
All right, Sims out of the shotgun, joined in the backfield by Bailey. He's going to hand it off to Bailey one more time. Bailey looking for a hole, but that hole does not exist because the Lane Dragons are breathing fire at this point. I think that's the first Dragons breathing fire reference that I've made in 2 weeks. I'm proud of myself for holding on for so long.
Yeah, the D-line there, they did a great job of standing strong, and the linebackers came up and filled their gaps, and that was just a perfectly ran play because the offensive line, they ran a trap play. So they were going to try to kick the defensive end out. He did a great job of sticking his nose in there and just playing bully ball.
I'm going to call it the 42 trap. That's the only play I ever ran in football where the guard had to pull, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's the only play I ever ran my whole life. I ran it 4 or 5 times in a row, and then I quit. Sims rolls out to the left. He's looking for a receiver. This time he finds one, and he picks up the first down. Beautiful catch and throw there by Sims as he finds number 7, Tremel Gooden, excuse me.
Yeah, Tremel Gooden. It's good to see him going a little here early here. He had 3 catches for 57 yards, and he also threw for a 63-yard touchdown pass last week. So I think if they can get him going, I think Lane's defense need to kind of keep an eye on him and try to keep him contained.
Oh, we got too many men on the field, and that's going to be a flag. Something's going down, and then number 92, that looks like McKenzie. He went down in a heat. Hopefully that's not
95.
Excuse me, that's number 95 for the Lane Dragons, Dexter Collins.
Yep.
And he went down in a heap. He went on the field. He tried to get off real quick. I didn't see what happened, but he fell abruptly, so hopefully that young man is all right. And they're definitely going to have too many men on the field called as well. And I think he is all right. He's walking off under his own power. But at the end of the day, it was a little discombobulation there by the Lane.
I think that might have been the old fall play.
I didn't want to call him out for it because I wanted to make sure he was all right. But he gave it the old college try.
He got up with a lot of power. You can see those guys laughing and joking with him on the sideline about it. It was definitely a great try. It was one I've tried before.
I looked away too quick because I was like, he was coming off, and I looked back and he was down. I said, what happened? Sniper got him. The field monster tripped him up. And the officials right now are discussing, I don't know what exactly they're discussing, but they're discussing something. What do you think this might be, Tyler?
I think they might be trying to decide on whether or not they're going to call the too many men on the field or if Collins actually falling. Or if it worked. It might have worked. I think that's what they're discussing here.
I think he should have probably tried to get another Oscar once he got on the sideline. I think he popped up a little too quick.
Oh, he deserves it. He deserves it.
All right, they're sorting it out now. And here's the official word on the field. Oh, wow, there is no substitution. Get that man an Emmy, an Oscar, a Grammy, get him something.
It worked.
Because it worked. Morehouse now taking over now. It's still first down and 10. They are at the 35-yard line. Sims ready to receive the snap. He gets it, throws it out for a bubble route, bubble screen. Number 6 with the pass. He picks up another first down for Morehouse. That is Trevor. I'm going to let you knock that one out.
Trevor Gichaba.
Good job. I was not going to do it. I was not going to rip him up. No huddle offense, and they are running back to the line of scrimmage in a hurry. We got got a bunch formation on the right side. We got one receiver to the left. Sims looking for that receiver to the left. They're going to go over the top, and that is, wow, what a great play. That is a touchdown by Amir Smith. Way to make up for that drop earlier. Beautiful pass, beautiful catch, and the Maroon Tigers have a touchdown.
Yeah, you saw the Tigers there, the Maroon Tigers, they gave a look similar to what the Lane's offense gave. The Lane College's offense gave Morehouse's defense earlier with the bunch look, with the trips bunch, but they gave him a quads bunch look and ran the screenplay. And then right after that, they took advantage of the one-on-one out there with one of their better receivers, and then also, with a one-on-one situation, and went up top to him, and he made the play.
Yeah, that was just, and that was something that we saw Lane do earlier. We were hoping maybe they had something in their bag of tricks, but they were unable to pull that off. And now we got the officials going over to talk to the coaches, the head referee, trying to figure out exactly what's going on here.
It looks like it'll be a taunting penalty after the touchdown there by Amir Smith.
Yeah, Smith did the little spin right there. Number 36 set to kick the extra point for the Tyler. That is S.L. Mora. I believe that's what I heard before the game started. They spelled it wrong. S.L. Mora with the extra point on the way. So right now, 6-6 is your score. S. De La Mora.
S. De La Mora.
S. De La Mora. I feel jazzy saying that. S. De La Mora set to kick the extra point. And there's the snap. There's the hold. There's the kick. And it is good. So once again, special teams rearing its head. 7-6 is your score. 10:53 left to go in the first half of play. I was going to take a 30-second break. We're not going to do it this time. We're going to go ahead and stay through the break this time because I definitely don't want to miss the kickoff. What was your analysis of that drive there by the Maroon Tigers?
Well, it was a well put together drive, primarily in the air, obviously through a touchdown pass, but they took advantage of what the defense was giving them. They gave them a lot of decent runs, and they kind of worked their way down the field play by play. They didn't really have too many big shots, but once they got into okay, the ref is calling on number 5. But once the offense kind of saw the defense kind of pressing up a little bit more, and they took advantage of what they gave them. They gave them the quads look, and they let the screenplay happen. So they gave them that and decided to go right back to it and take advantage of the one-on-one opportunity on the outside. And it's just great execution.
But what about the catch over there by the receiver too? Because you got to, like you said, you got to execute the play.
Yeah, and you started off the game with focus. That's exactly what you started off the game with. And that was just great focus there by the receiver. He never took his eye off the ball. And that's one thing I actually saw the wide receivers from Morehouse doing, and they were practicing that before the game. They were practicing catching the football, but under pressure. They had different arms and swipes coming across their face and body trying to keep them from catching the ball. So the drill definitely paid off, and it worked to perfection there.
And you got to think about early in the game on the first down play, Smith drops that pass, has to stay in his head. He did not want to drop that pass there, especially off that great execution of the pass. All right, we got a kickoff here. It's kind of short, so Lane once again getting good field position, and there he is. He's going to bring it up on the left side of the play there. He's finally brought down about the 45-yard line. That is number 17 for the Dragons, is Anthony Evelyn, just listed as an athlete.
Yeah, you saw speed there.
I saw that last week, and I said, how good, how fast, how strong do you have to be classified as an athlete? That's your position. It doesn't have a position, it just has ATH.
And the deceiving thing right there was, I don't know if you saw, he tried to lower his shoulder and lower the boom. He's not necessarily the biggest of guys, but you can say he got the heart. He tried to lower the boom, and he tried to run him over and did a little bit of talking afterwards, too.
All right, Lane, we talked about Morehouse getting punched in the mouth early on. Lane just got punched in the mouth here. They got to respond. They've lost their lead. And Reynolds, let's see what the senior quarterback can do. He's out of the shotgun, got 2 wide receivers to the right. He's going to hand it off to the big back Jeffrey, and Jeffrey is rumbling, stumbling, and he bumbles about to the first down marker. So another good run. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Looks like Lane's going back to the run.
You took the words right out of my head. Go back to it. Keep going to it. If they can't stop the run, you see they got the 2-headed monster, the big bulls in the backfield. Keep going to it. Keep chipping away at yardage, and eventually you'll find yourself in the end zone.
So Jeffrey comes off the field, Hill comes on it, and Hill gets the ball, and then he's going to pick up a chunk of yardage. He's going to get the first down. It was 2nd and 2. They actually moved the chains, and that's what you got to do with Lane. You got to simplify your offense, and you just got to move the chains.
Yeah, and you said it earlier, going inside out, like you use basketball as a reference, going inside out. If they can keep going inside out, the defense is going to eventually get greedy, and they're going to bite. And as soon as they bite, you run the play action, you slip it right over their head for the touchdown.
All right, you got 8 in the box for the Maroon Tigers, and this time it doesn't pay off because Jeffrey has nowhere to run. It didn't pay off for Lane because they put those players in the box, and they were able to make the gang tackle, and they lose about 2 yards on the play.
Yeah, and as I just said, they got greedy. And sometimes being greedy actually helps you out. But also at the same time, being greedy can also get you in a lot of trouble. So they did a great job. They sniffed that play out to perfection, and kudos. But just also be aware that, you know, if something leaves, something could be coming right back behind you.
I'm looking at Ahmad Isaac out there on the island by himself. Maybe Reynolds can find his #1 target and see what was up with that. All right, Reynolds out of the shotgun. Here's the snap. No play action. He gives it to Jeffrey. Jeffrey picks up about 4 yards on the play, but that's going to give you another 3rd and long situation with 9:29 left to go in the first half of play.
Yeah, and you just said about Isaac out there being on the island by himself. He actually made a great double move. The play just happened to be a run play, but he made a great double move to get past the cornerback that if they had been throwing the football, he could have potentially scored a touchdown on.
You think that's being a little too conservative? I'm not going to say they're being a little too conservative, but we're going to see what they're going to do here on 3rd down and 11. Reynolds joined in the backfield by a wide receiver in motion. He looks out left. He has nothing there. He goes over the top. He has a man, and, it's overthrown. That is an interception there by Morehouse. And, he's going to bring it out of the end zone, and he's not going to get very far unless he's still on his feet, which he is, and he's still going up and down the sideline. He gets about to the 40-yard line. I thought he was pushed out earlier. Apparently he wasn't. Just a little overthrown there by Reynolds, and it results in a big turnover there for the Maroon Tigers of Morehouse.
Yeah, I mean, he had him wide open. He had his receiver wide open, running right up the seams. Had he just put the ball on the money, I think the receiver could have made a great catch and a great touchdown. It would have been.
There was Amari Hampton out of Jackson, Mississippi. He made a couple of big catches last week. You're right. It was just a little overthrown, and it ended up costing them a turnover. So now Morehouse has a lot of momentum on the road.
Yeah, a lot of momentum, great field position. I think this would be a key stand here for the defense coming off of what it was, essentially kind of a quick turnaround, but not really. But the momentum definitely, you can tell, is beginning to shift a little bit. So I think this is a big defensive stand here.
7-6 is your score. 8:45 left to go in the first half of play. Sims look a little more comfortable at the quarterback position too. It's something about getting that pass and catch relationship going with your receiver game to game. It looks like he's more comfortable now than he was in the first quarter.
Well, yeah, it's like the old football cliche: the run opens up the pass. So, they've been able to chip away at rushing yards, 4 yard, 5 yard, as I mentioned, 6 yard dingers here and there.
Mm-hmm.
So that opens up the pass game, because then now the defense gets a little bit more hungry and a little bit more greedier, and they're going to start guessing. And once they start guessing, they're going to become undisciplined. And once they do that, the back end is going to open up all day, and the corners are going to get tired because they're getting no work.
You're absolutely right. And speaking of getting tired, Lane's defense back on the field. They've been shouldering a lot of the load first game and the majority of this game, holding this high-powered offense down, but you would like to see these guys get a little more rest. That turnover does hurt a little bit in more ways than one.
Definitely, and as I mentioned, like I said, this would be a big stand here. I'm curious to see what the rest are discussing, but this would be a big stand here because the defense, I'm curious. I want to see if they can get a turnover. This seems like a possession where if they get a turnover, that could be huge for the offense.
And sometimes you talked about I believe we have a touchback situation, so they're going to be taking over from the 20-yard line. You brought up a point earlier where you picked me up when I made a little bit of an error. Teammates have to do that, especially defense and offense in football, because that's a big thing, right? Big contingency, right?
Definitely, yeah, definitely. As they go back here, it looks like Morehouse's offense is going back to the quads look. But, that's a big thing. The offense should be able to make a few mistakes here and there, and the defense ought to be able to back them, and vice versa. I mean, this is his teammate. It's a chemistry thing that it has to be done for both ends.
Sims out wide finds Bailey. Bailey trying to find some room to run. I believe that's done. Picking up about 3 or 4 yards on the play. He's close to the first down marker, I think.
Yeah, it looks like Lane's defense has been a little too conservative here, especially when they give you a quads bunch look, and you only have 2 DBs out there sticking it, and you have 4 wide receivers. I think they've been a little bit too conservative and playing a little bit too far off for the football. But as long as they keep giving them that 5 to 6 yard cushion every time, they're going to keep taking that screenplay.
Well, the adjustments have been made on both sides. Now it's about execution. Sims gets the ball, pump fake. He's going deep one more time, and he has a receiver, and he catches it, and he is nailed at about the 39-yard line. But what a beautiful pass and catch there by the Maroon Tigers.
And that's the beauty of having a well-executed play. Something you can go to once and then go to in a different aspect again for a second time. And as you can see here from Morehouse, this was the third, fourth time that they've gone to that same formation, the same play, as they go into it once again. And they're going to keep taking what the defense gives them. You just have to stay disciplined and play assignment football.
Reese Knuckles with that reception. Big play there by Morehouse. This time Sims goes out to the flat, finds Dunn. Dunn is going to break a tackle. He's going up the sideline. Eventually, he's spun out. Nice tackle there by number 5 for Lane. That is Demarius Pitts out of Auburn, Alabama, makes the tackle, but not before a large chunk of yards was once again picked up by Morehouse.
Yeah, and that goes back to what I just said literally a second ago. Lane's defense is going to have to make the adjustment, and they're going to have to step up and defend this quads look. Because 2 guys defending the quads look, the quads bunch look at that from 5 to 6 yards of depth, they'll never be able to stop it.
And I'm not sure if Lane has any more timeouts up. They burned 2 timeouts early in the first quarter. And it looks like they're trying to get it together. Sims, this time, he has nowhere to go. And then the big linebacker there, the big defensive end, number 95, looking for his name, Dexter Collins, who won the Oscar earlier, clogged up that lane, and Sims had nowhere to go.
Yeah, it's definitely a great play. One thing I'm noticing as a quarterback, as Sims keeps running the same play or same type of formation, it's an option. So he has a quads bunch option where he can either throw the football out there for the screen play, they can all kind of fake, and he can give a pump and go to the wide receiver. Or also another thing to kind of keep an eye on is he can go to his one-on-one look on the backside and take advantage of that.
2nd and 15 coming up for Sims. 7:07 left to go in the half. Sims, this time he's going to hand it off to Bailey. Bailey charges forward. He's a little guy, but he has a little power in him as well.
Yeah, and while that 4 to 5 yards doesn't seem like a big gain, that's a huge energy boost, and it's a big boost, mentally and physically, because haven't been able to really get anything going. So if you can see that you can get 5 to 6 yards here or there, that'll open you up for the rest of the game.
All right, 6:40 left to go in the first half of play. Sims, the 6'3" quarterback, he's a sophomore, but he's showing a lot of poise up under center. This time he's in the shotgun. He has 2 out to the right, 1 out to the left. Trips out to the left. Receiver in motion. Sims drops back. He rolls out to the left. This time he's just going to throw it out of bounds. That's the composure I'm talking about. Not taking the sack, not putting his team in the hole. You got 4th down coming up. So I don't know if they're in field goal range. We're going to see what their kicker is all about.
Yeah, I definitely think it'll be a challenging field goal. It looks like that's one they're discussing here now. That was a great rush on the Lane defensive end for number 33, Cam Brown, who's also wreaking havoc, it looks like, again this game as he did last game. But, like you just said, composure. For Sims, that's been a difference here early on between Sims and Reynolds. His composure seems to just be a little bit more better, as you can see he threw the football there instead of taking a 10, 15-yard loss.
It looks like they're going for it on 4th down instead of kicking the field goal. It's 4th and about 8 to say, so it's a long 4th down. Sims receives the snap, goes over the middle, finds his receiver, but it is dropped by number 4. That is A.J. Smith Jr. He's unable to haul in the play. Great play call there by Morehouse. Unable to come up with it. Lane is going to take over at the spot. It's 6:18 left to go in the first half of play.
Yeah, that was a great play call. And had he caught the ball, it obviously would have been great execution. But that's the thing, when you're dealing with a cover 2 defense, which Lane showed there, you have to exploit the holes. You're not going to be able to find a lot of too many one-on-one opportunities because it's a coverage zone. So with coverage zones, you want to try to exploit different holes in different areas of the defense, and they did it there, but A.J. Smith just happened to drop the football in that play.
7-6 is your score. Lane Dragons trailing at this point. The Maroon Tigers defense has turned it up a notch. Let's see if Lane can respond. We have trips out wide, and Reynolds gets the snap, and he's going to hand it off to Jeffrey, and Jeffrey has nowhere to go. Now, earlier we talked about if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, right now it looks a little broke here for Lane.
Yeah, I think it's time to go to the play action look. They've been showing seemingly a lot of the same or similar type looks. I want to see if they can switch it up and go to a play action type look, or try to catch the defense, biting just a little bit, because now they're expecting to run. And so when you expect to run, you get greedy and you're going to eat the run up.
They picked up about 2 yards on the play. 2nd and 8 coming up. Reynolds, the senior lefty, out of the shotgun, joined by Jeffrey in the backfield. He goes to the play action. Screen pass there to Hampton. Hampton turns it up, and he is close to the first down. And it depends on the spot. I think they're going to move the chains, though. 5:30 left to go in the first half. 7-6 is your score, and that is going to be a first down play by the Dragons.
Yeah, it looks like we're getting a little tit for tat here on both ends of the offense for both teams. As they like to run these little screen plays, and the defense is going to have to adjust to it. You can't sit back on the screenplay, especially a wide receiver screenplay, for the simple fact that you're already losing 5 yards each play.
Trips out to the right. He finds Jeffrey. Jeffrey breaks it. He has a lot of green in front of him. He's turning up, and he could go off. Y'all know the rest. That's a touchdown for the Lane Dragons. As he gets into the end zone, the crowd goes wild. The world goes crazy, and the Lane Dragons have taken the lead. Second big run there for Joshua Jeffrey.
Yeah, definitely a great play. And like I said a second ago, that screen play opened that up because the defense drew all of their attention to the heavy screen side play, and they were able to slide something in on the back end of it and touchdown. Voila.
I'm not going to call myself Nostradamus, but I was going to call a screen on that play before. It worked, and I was hoping that it opened up this left side, and it did. That's why I don't get paid the big bucks. Now, this is where Lane has to tighten up. We talked about it earlier. Special teams play is huge.
Definitely. They already left some points here on the board, but it looks like they're going to actually keep the offense on the field here.
They're going to go for 2.
Yeah.
So 12-7 is your score. 5 minutes and 6 seconds left. Reynolds joined in the backfield by the big back Hill. I say just give Hill the ball.
To get the 2 yards.
All right, receiver in motion. That's Hampton. Nope, Reynolds is going to keep it. He's sitting in the pocket. He's looking for somebody open. He doesn't have everywhere to go. He rolls out to the right, and he is dragged down. So once again, unable to convert those extra points. 12-7 is your score. Let's go ahead and take a break. We got to get these breaks in. We got 5 minutes and 6 seconds left to go in the half. We're going to take a break here on 105.3 Fox Sports Jackson. You're listening to Lane College Football. All right, there's the kickoff from Pena, and it looks like that's done. He's going to bring it back, and he's not going down easily. He's still on his feet. He is making some hay. They are missing tackles left and right. The Dragons finally bring him down at about the 40-yard line. Santo, done. Once again, position athlete, and he just showed why.
Yeah, and that's the thing, as we talked about earlier, with the smaller running backs, they're a little bit more shifty, a little bit more slippery, and you got to really make sure you get your hands on them and get a good hold of them and wrap them up, and either you bring them down yourself or wait till the game comes with you.
All right, man. Lane with the big response. I guess they showed us, though, but, I said it was broke. They needed to fix it. That's what they did with that one screen pass. It just shows you just forward thinking what you can do.
Yeah, and football, the game of football is all about adjustments. Every player is not going to work on each team or each possession. So, yeah, you're going to have to make the necessary adjustments, and as soon as you do that, you're going to counter with another adjustment, and it's just going to be a series of adjustments to happen.
All right, Sims, he's going to go with the screen out wide. He's going to find one of his athletes. That's Smith, I believe, and he picks up a first down. That's a really good play call. That was Trevor Gichaba. I think I nailed it that time.
I think you got it.
Even if I didn't, I'm going to roll with it regardless.
Looks like an injury on the field. It looks like number 41 for the Dragons, Jeffrey Johnson.
He's on the Morehouse sideline, and the trainers are going to check him out. So worst comes to worst, he still has to be brought back across the field. We have 4 minutes and 47 seconds left to go in the half. They're going to be working on him right now. Let's go ahead and take a 1 minute break. We're going to take another 1 minute break. We're going to get these spots in. You're listening to 105.3 Fox Sports Jackson, and this is Lane College Football. Start taking 30s. I've been trying to get all these spots in. He told me it was like 18 spots. I know we didn't take no timeouts in that second quarter. First quarter. All right. You're going to bring us back after this one, John. All right, we're back here on 105.3 Fox Sports Jackson, and all we missed was one play, run that went absolutely nowhere. So we got 2nd down and 9 to go right now for the Maroon Tigers. Sims gets the snap. He's going to hand it off to Bailey. Bailey going to take it up the left side, and he has some room to run, but not before he's tackled there by number 9. That was Travis Streeter. Travis Streeter is somebody we talked about a lot pregame last week. Didn't have a huge game, but that was a nice tackle in the open field.
Definitely, especially after making back-to-back plays, tackles here on 1st and 2nd down. Now he brings up a 3rd and very short, 3rd and about a yard. Let's see if the defense here, especially the defensive line, can get big in the chest and make this play.
It's a big stop. We got to give the defense credit on that last play, on that 4th down play. Getting that field position for the offense to take over, that was huge. Let's see if the defense can do it again. 3rd and 1, and the defensive line is going to have to get penetration here. Let's see what goes on. Sims calls for the snap. He receives it, hands it off to Dunn, and Dunn, he powers forward, and I think he does have the 1st down. Good run there by Dunn.
And I like that play right there. That's old school football. Just you got to get a yard, boom, get north and south, get straight up the football field, get what you get, and you live to fight another day. Oftentimes you see when you get short yardage situations, teams typically try to pass the ball or try to, do fancy things. You just got to get it 1 yard, and that goes to show you right there, great play.
3 yards in a cloud of dust. This time that's Dunn. One more time, turning it up, and he is going to pick up about 5 yards on the play, and I heard somebody yell out holding. I did see a lot of grabbing on the outside there, but unlike the first week we covered Lane, not a lot of laundry on the field so far, and that's a good sign for Lane as well.
Definitely. They disciplined. They learned. They learned from their mistakes they had last week, and they grew as a football team, and they grew as individuals, and you can just tell they look different. It's a different feel out there on the field for them.
Let's see how Sims and the Maroon Tigers try to keep the ball moving down the field now. He has 2 wide out to the right, 2 to the left. Empty backfield. Sims out of the shotgun. This time he's going to find a quick hitter, and he finds Knuckles for a big chunk of yards and another 1st down. Ball is down at the 20-yard line. 2 minutes left to go in the first half of play.
Yeah, it looked like you had a blown coverage there for the Lanes defenses. They left one receiver uncovered, and he was able to make the quick catch and get up north and south for get north for the football, for the 1st down,
This is when Lane has to stay focused when they go with that no huddle and they're rushing to the line. Sims finding another receiver out wide. That is number 6, Gachaba.
Well, now here for the Maroon Tigers, with it being actually a minute and 35 seconds left here before the half, they're going to try to take their time here. They know they're in great field position. They're going to try not to get Lane the football back to potentially score the score. So they're going to try to milk this clock and try to get in the end zone, and they're going to just keep trying to make a little quick hitters.
All right, here we go. 2 out wide, 1 receiver in motion. That is Gachaba in motion. Sims waits on him to get set. Sims going to hand it off to Dunn. Dunn, nice cutback, but not picking up many yards there on that play. Right now, you're right, it's a war of attrition right now, and Lane is just trying to hold on before the half.
Yeah, and the best case scenario here for the Lanes defense is looks like you have a player coming off the field with the helmet off. But the best case scenario here for Lane's defense is that they hold them to, well, they get a turnover, but they hold them to at least 3 points.
Right.
That's the goal here. That's the key. They want to at least hold them 3 points if they don't get the turnover. And now they face another 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2 potentially down here, and we'll see how they play it.
You definitely want to go into the locker room with a lead if you're Lane, because you've worked hard to get it. The running game has looked good. Reynolds has looked good at times, but the defense has been really sharp.
Yeah.
All right. Morehouse approaching the line, and it's just the flip side for Morehouse. You're trying to go in with the lead. You know, you score some points here, you can take the lead back without even the courtesy of an extra point.
Yeah, and this would be a big momentum boost for either team. If the defense gets to stop, it ought to be a big momentum boost for Lane. And if Morehouse gets to...
All right, we're waiting on the official results. The official word here is going to be a 10-second runoff. Not sure what the penalty was, but they have a 10-second runoff. So we're at 58 seconds left to go before the half. It should be knocked down to 48 seconds, but there's still a lot of confusion. The officials, they're still trying to get their sea legs under them as well.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I was trying to figure out what it was exactly that the refs were trying to discuss here, but
I think the refs are trying to figure it out as well. He cut his mic on 3 times, and I didn't hear a word.
exactly.
So big receiver in for Morehouse right there, number 7. That's Tremel Gooden. He's on the outside on an island. Sims going to receive the snap. They're not going to throw it. They're going to run it. Wow, what a hit there. And I think there's going to be some helmet-to-helmet contact there as Dunn gets rocked. And I couldn't tell who leveled that hit. I think it was number 41. It might have been Jeffrey Johnson with that hit, but that was a rock.
I mean, he absolutely leveled Dunn. And this helmet popped off.
And I think I saw the laundry come out, and hopefully it's not helmet-to-helmet contact, but there was a lot of that going on. Flag on the field, head official trying to figure out what it's for, but I think they're just going to say it's 4th down. So I think maybe the hit was so hard it knocked the flag out of the official's pocket. That's how hard that hit was. Let's see what the referee has to say. Oh, we got holding on offense. So all right, so they're gonna take that one back. 44 seconds on the clock. And number 1 has to sit out for 1 play. That's done. So that's a gift right there if you're Lane, because he's been running hard. That time he got popped.
Yeah, but you still got to be aware of Frank Bailey. And also I think Knuckles here. Knuckles is a key receiver here to watch, especially down here on the goal line. And you also have Gooding, number 7, who's the bigger and taller wide receiver. I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to go to him.
So that was a big penalty. It pushes Morehouse way back. They have a 3rd and long here. And it looks like Sims is going to go with the play action. He's going to draw back. And there's a man wide open in the corner. That is number 11.
Ryan Edwards.
Ryan Edwards with the touchdown. What a play call. Lane was completely lost on that play.
Yeah, and that's one of those things you have to do when scouting. That's one of their leaders on their team. He's had a quiet day thus far today, but he's one of the leaders here. He's also a SIAC preseason all-conference player, one of many on their football team. So he's definitely a player that they have to watch in the red zone especially, but he's a leader. He's an unsung hero. Unsung leader. Like unsung hero.
Well, now I was going to mess it up. You say it.
S. De La Mora.
S. De La Mora set to kick the extra point. It is up, and it is good. And that, my friends, is 14 points on the board and a 2-point lead for the Morehouse Maroon Tigers.
Yeah, and one thing that does, if you're Morehouse, that gives you a boost, as we mentioned earlier, but also just the demeanor that Lane's defense is coming off the football field with, heads low and looking like they were just defeated. That's what you want to feel if you're Morehouse. That's what you want to do. You want to try to demoralize the defense, but also if you're the defense, you have to understand that, things happen. You didn't have the best of drives, but you can hope the offense can pick you up for 35 seconds, although I would doubt that they would try to push the ball down the field with 1 timeout, but, this is something you have to recover from. You come out in the second half and you get ready to do it all over again. You make the necessary adjustments.
You got to realize, like you said, football is going to football. Things are going to happen. Doesn't take away from the job that you've done the entire half. Just imagine a game of plays. 1 play goes from we only allowed 7 points in the whole first half to now we're going in with a deficit. But let's see if anything can happen right here. Maybe Lane gets a kickoff return and has a shot at the end zone a couple of times. So Morehouse getting set to kick it off, and they put it in the air. Let's see what happens. Number 17 with the kick, Anthony Evelyn. He's going to come up that right side, that left side. He gets a block, and finally he is tripped up at about the 27-yard line. Great open field tackle there by number 14, Micaiah Page.
Yeah, Micaiah. Yep, yeah, correct, Micaiah.
And I know I said it with a question mark at the end. I'm glad you jumped in right there. 28 seconds left to go on the clock. 14-12 is your score. We have seen a very, very entertaining half of football so far.
Definitely. And while it seems like it hasn't been necessarily too much offense, it's a lot of big plays. A lot of big plays that happen both ways for the offense. And we're seeing a pretty stout defensive game here as well.
All right, let's see what Lane chooses to do here. Coach Burrows is talking to his defense on the sideline, talking to a couple of his defensive captains, trying to get them in order. Reynolds is now on the field. He has trips out to the right, one receiver out to the left. Reynolds out of the shotgun, receives the snap. He's going to hand it off to Jeffrey, which is not a bad idea with the way he's been running the football today, but he is taken down with about a 2-yard gain, 20 seconds on the clock, and it looks like Lane might just let this thing run out.
That's definitely the smart thing here to do, especially with it being 10 seconds left here. Just, they don't need to necessarily run another play. Just let the clock run out and go into the half the way it is.
And it looks like they're going to run another play regardless, and they're going to throw it. Reynolds dropping back, looking over the top, looking for a receiver. It is incomplete, and that, my friends, is the end of the half. 14-12 is your score as we get ready to take a 2-minute break. We're going to take a 2-minute break, come back with a small halftime report, running down some of the stats from the first half, and then we'll take another break after that. So make sure you stay tuned. It's 105.3 Fox Sports Jackson, Lane College Dragons football. End of the quarter, at the end of the second quarter, and they were unable to stop the Maroon Tigers from getting into the end zone with a blown coverage. So the Maroon Tigers take a 14 to 12 lead. Good job there by the defense of the Maroon Tigers making adjustments. Both teams were making adjustments. Not a lot of penalties in the first half of play. We're going to take another break here. We're going to take a 4-minute break here on 105.3 Fox Sports, and we'll come back with an extensive second half preview as well as a first half review with stats. So make sure you stay tuned. My name is Reggie Walker Jr., my co-host Tyler Newkirk. I finally got it right. It took me the whole game. I finally got it right. He's having a sandwich because he deserves a sandwich. I'm going to have some of my sandwich as well, and we're going to come back with all your halftime shows right after this. So make sure you stay tuned to Lane College Dragon Football. Might work with some more play-by-play dudes. There's more structured. I have fun. You know what I'm saying? Give me some.
That's what I like that.
Yeah.
I like the way it flows. Like I said, I'm still trying to.
You got it.
But I like the way it flows.
You see, I'm messing up left and right, but who cares? You know what I'm saying? Let's keep talking. I'm a battle rapper too, so I don't. You know what I'm saying? I keep going off the head. Yeah, keep going.
Once again, my heart is in motion. Now, sit back and play. As you play, my hit song, best thing I never had.
Take a long break. Last week we talked the whole halftime about nothing. Like, not for do that.
People don't want to just hear us talk.
Hey, John, I'm going to come back for another about a minute or so. Maybe 2 minutes, and then take another big break.
How long we got?
I don't know how long we got left. I'm going to take another 4-minute break, though. Hey, Raj. You want to go over some of those stats when we come back? We'll do that for about All right, we are back at the Dragon Lair, the home of the Lane College Dragons, and boy, did we see some interesting football. I said entertaining earlier, but it was interesting. It kept me involved the whole time, which is a play-by-play guy. It's saying a lot. Matter of fact, let's run down some of those stats, some of the biggest stats that you see right now, Tyler.
Well, probably the biggest stats thus far will probably be the total offensive plays to the yards. Morehouse has run about 30 plays and has ultimately had 135 yards and to Lane's 28 and 178 yards. The probably to me the tightest thing right now is the first down margin. I think first downs are huge. Morehouse has 7 and Lane has 8. Um, but the touchdown at the end of the half was really the killer for Lane College's defense because they demoralized the defense a little bit and kind of took a shot to them. But if they can come out in the second half and recover after taking such a big blow, then I think they'll be able to recover and they'll have a pretty decent second half. Morehouse's offense definitely they wanted to see that touchdown at the end of the half, and that gave them a boost going into the second half. So really, who comes out with the better energy and the higher motor here in the second half will be key, and whichever team could do that will, chances are, win the football game.
All right, Lane College band is taking the field. I'll probably let a little bit of the band play. I don't know how we're picking it up on air, but we'll let it play behind us. What about some of the individual stats? I was talking about Joshua Jeffrey earlier. What it seemed like he put up a lot of yards in that first half.
Yeah, and Joshua Jeffrey, he had about 153 yards. He had 2 touchdowns. And both his touchdowns, the crazy thing about it was both of them were big runs. He had 2 big runs that were just blows to the Morehouse defense. So, I want to see if he can have a big second half or if Morehouse's defense makes the adjustment and they're able to kind of contain him. I don't know how much stopping him they can do at this point, but if they can kind of contain him and keep him in the little box, Hill hasn't necessarily gotten out of control yet for their defense, but if they can contain Jeffries and keep him off of the board, then I think they'll be fine.
And you brought up Hill, and that's Lane's two-headed monster. What about Morehouse? We talked about the defense of Lane and what they were doing. These 2 running backs came in with a lot of hype, and they were doing some big things last week, but not so much this week.
Yeah, not this week. Like Sento Dunn, number 1, he's only had about 37 yards, I want to say, rushing. So, he hasn't had a crazy first half thus far. He hasn't scored a touchdown. And same with Frank Baby Jr. He's had about 16 yards rushing. Again, no touchdown. And, Dunn is averaging, 6.2 rushes or yards per carry, which it sounds like a lot, but in retrospect, it hasn't been too much of a blow to Lane's defense, although they find themselves down. But, the passing, the receiving yardage has been huge blows to Lane's defense as they've given up 36 yards from Trevor Gachaba. I'm sorry.
No,
Sento Dunn has 43 yards in the air. Amir Smith has 25 yards in the air, and he also has 1 touchdown that turned out to be crucial to Lane's defense, and Tramel Gooden with 18. So I think if Lane's defense could keep kind of containing the wide receivers and keeping them in check, they ought to be fine. But it's just the quick plays, just the quick plays, the screen plays, the plays that's setting them up for scoring opportunities. Those are the plays that's getting Lane's defense thus far. But if Morehouse can kind of keep positioning themselves the way that they have been, they'll, chances are, win this football game.
Hey, and I think we're going to see a lot of excitement in the second half of play. I'm excited. Big shout out back in the studio. My main man, John, back there producing, doing a great job keeping up with us out there. So I always want to shout out my producer back at the Fox Sports Jackson studios. We're going to take one more break before we come back from halftime. So we're going to take about another 4-minute break. We're going to let the bands play on, and then when we come back, we're going to come back with second half action, ready to rock and roll. So make sure you keep it locked in to 105.3 Fox Sports Jackson. I am Reggie Walker Jr., and this is Lane College Football. And we are back here live from the Dragon's Lair. I don't even know if they call it the Dragon's Lair. That's what I'm going to call it, though. How about that?
I like the Dragon's Den.
Dragon's
They
Den?
should call it the Dragon's Den, yeah.
So dragons have dens. They don't have layers?
I mean-
Who has a layer?
I mean, they have layers, but who goes to layers? It sounds like Dracula or something. Like,
Who wants to go to a layer? That's the whole
oh
point.
yeah, okay, there you go.
You see what I'm
Okay,
saying?
that makes sense.
I don't. Okay, but I'll go with den. It rolls off the tongue a little quicker. As the Lane Dragons marching band leaves off the field, the players get in sight. They're ready to rock and roll. Oh, okay. He's talking to the coaching staff. Coach Derek Burrows, I thought he was talking to me. I was like, there's nothing I can do for you guys right now, but the defense is looking real sharp, though.
And I could tell you what I think, but you probably think the same thing.
150 left to go in the half-time period. There's a lot to reflect on. The two big runs, I guess that will be the story of the first two games for Lane. Well, the first game and a half. The big play on offense has supplied all the scoring needs for Lane so far, but how long can you sustain that? It's like in baseball, waiting for the three-run homer. Sometimes you got to play small ball, and you got to move the ball, and here you got to move the chains.
Yeah, definitely. The big plays, those have been the keys to this game so far, and that is what has determined the score thus far for the first half. It's just been the big plays. The small plays have essentially added up, but they haven't really harmed either side too much. But like you just mentioned, the two big runs, the big pass, the not trick play, but the play where it's just gashes. It's just mistakes defensively, and those are what has determined the score of this game thus far.
Time of possession is going to be key for both teams moving forward. I think we just discussed it. Moving the chains, moving the ball, keeping the ball in your possession, keeping the other team from trying those big plays and those big yardage gains.
Yeah, and it's as we just mentioned, because Morehouse's offense had the ball for their time of possession was about 13 minutes and 57 seconds, and Lane's time of possession was about 16 minutes and 3 seconds. So not too much of a difference there, but which is why you see a close game here thus far. But as you just mentioned there a second ago, time of possession is going to be huge, especially if it gets down to a fourth quarter situation where the last team who has the ball could potentially win the football game.
And I think that works in Lane's it works in their favor to keep the football away from a Morehouse team with a lot of weapons. Not saying Lane doesn't have them, but you've seen they've held Bailey and Dunn in check, but those guys can erupt at any moment. So you want to keep the football away from them. And look for a big half from Kenneth Williams, the DB for Lane, who he's the defensive captain. I think he's going to have a really big play. I think he took some of those big passing plays to heart, and he's going to step up in the secondary.
Well, yeah, their defense definitely, they had a really good first half, but I want to see if they can have a great second half. If they can do that, then they'll find themselves out on top.
S. Delamar with the kickoff, and the second half is underway. And Lane is bringing it up the field. He's moving it up the left side. Quickly, he has a blocker, and he ends up getting put down at about the 37-yard line. So that's where Lane, lack of good field position wasn't the problem for Lane in the first half.
Definitely, it wasn't. And I want to quickly shout out number 48, James Williams, the 6'1 linebacker, sophomore out of Birmingham, Alabama. That's a tongue twister.
Yep.
But he just had a great block, and he's had a really good day on special teams thus far with a bunch of huge blocks. But, yeah, time of possession for Lane. They've had the football, but they haven't necessarily been able to capitalize on the opportunities that they've been presented with, especially with awesome field position. So if they can change that second half and actually put some things into motion, they'll find themselves up big.
Got the bunch formation on the right side of the field. Let's see if they set the tone with it early. Let's see if they go back to it. This time they're going to give it to Jeffrey in the backfield again. He's going to pick up about 4 yards on the play. So anytime you see that bunch formation on the other side, they're trying to get that quick hitter on the left with their big back.
Yeah, and that's actually one of the plays that Jeffries broke out the big touchdown run with. They set up the same kind of formation, and he, after they ran through the screen pass out there, they ran the backside, which is essentially outside zone, or maybe could have been an inside zone, and he just bounced out. But they ran the play that broke him free, and he scored the touchdown on.
I'm glad you brought up that screen pass because that was the precursor to that big run. Let's see if they go to it again. Reynolds out of the shotgun receives the snap. He's going to hand it off to Hill, and Hill is tackled in the backfield. He doesn't pick up any yards on the play. Good job by the Maroon Tigers defense.
Yeah, and I think Reynolds could have done a better job there on reading what the defense gave him.
That read option.
Yeah, exactly. They took away the inside zone from him, the read option play, but he also had an option where he could have threw the ball outside to the screen receiver. So, if he just kind of reads that a little bit better, I think that'll be the difference between execution and essentially points.
Right, 3rd and 8 coming up right now. Another 3rd and long play. You want to get some yards on that play. Reynolds joined in the backfield by Hill, waiting on the snap. There it is. He drops back the pass, sits in the pocket, doesn't stay there long. He comes out, gets a big block by Hill, and that gets him the first down. Good job by the running back Hill, springing his quarterback for that first down.
Definitely, and I like that he took his time a little half a second longer. Just because he sat in that pocket and had that extra little bounce to him, it gave him the chance to kind of read the defense for a second longer. And while the DBs backed off, he was able to kind of run and gain an extra yard or two.
And that's something you talked about earlier, and they're going to say it's short. They don't even want to measure. It's going to be 4th and inches at this point in time. Just give it to your back, right?
Yep, give it to the bull.
All right, here we go. Big 4th down play early in the second half. Let's see what the Dragons can come up with. They might try to draw them off sides. Let's see what goes on. No hard count here by Reynolds. There it is. There's the hard count. He got him to go. It's a free play. He's still on his feet, but just get rid of the ball at this point. You just don't want to get, oh, no, he's going to keep the ball. He's keeping his head moving upfield, and he ends up getting, well, he gets the first down anyway. That hard count looked like it worked that time, though.
Definitely, and as a defensive lineman, that's the only thing you should be expecting, especially with a 4th and 1. And there's really no excuse for that, especially when you're right over the football. But things happen. Sometimes you just gotta make up for it on the next play. But that's definitely one Morehouse defensive coordinator wishes he could get back.
Exactly, and you like to see Reynolds go downfield with that one. He was trying to get his feet in, but it almost like it caught him off guard. That free play, use that free play.
And as soon as you said free play, Aaron Rodgers.
That's so crazy. I was about to bring him up. I'm glad you did it.
Yeah, that was the first play that came into my mind. He's a master.
He loves it.
Yeah.
I think he looks forward to it.
Exactly. You get the free play, or even if you just throw the ball down the field to Lord knows whoever.
Exactly.
It's a free play.
Exactly. 13:27 left to go in the 3rd quarter of play. Reynolds receives the snap, throws it out to Hampton, out wide. Hampton turns upfield, picks up about 6 yards on the play, and you see the Maroon Tigers defense is really upset.
Yeah, and they're upset because they just, it's that same screenplay. The same screenplay that's been gashing them pretty much the entire first half, and it's been gashing both teams. And, they just didn't necessarily have the best coverage there, and it looked like they were playing too far off. But that was definitely a great look, a great option, and a great read by Reynolds.
All right, you had 2 wide receivers out to the left, and the officials want a timeout to discuss something. Once again, another stoppage of play. We've seen a lot of this today, and I think the umpire had to get something off his utility belt. I'm not sure if that's what it was, but that's what we're going to go with. And now we have another player going downfield. A lot of wardrobe malfunctions all over the field right now. This time for the lane. Quarterback drops his satchel. I don't know what that is.
What is that, a towel?
It's a very humid day, so he has to keep the hands dry. All right, now we're ready to play some football. Reynolds with Hampton in motion. Reynolds drops back. He finds Hampton on another screen on the other side of the field, staying on his feet, keeping the legs moving. They're pushing the pile. He is close to the first down marker, but he's going to be a little short. So we got a 3rd and 1 coming up here.
Yeah, and with the big backs that you have, two-headed monster, I call them the 2 bulls.
Yeah.
You gotta think that they're gonna go straight up the middle, right up the pipe with either number 32 Hill or number 8 Jeffrey. So if you're the defense, you kind of expect that, and if you lane, you might want to consider giving them a different look. But definitely Morehouse defense should be looking for one of the bigger backs coming up the middle.
All right, Hill is in the backfield. He just checked into the ball game. Reynolds gets the snap. This time he doesn't give it to Hill. He gives it to Hampton on another screen, and he is going to pick up the first down. I like what they're doing. The screen pass can be just as effective as the short run, and you have the possibility to break one.
Definitely, especially when the defense doesn't make the necessary adjustments, at least right away. It might come eventually, but, you just keep taking what the defense gives you. If they're going to give you 5 yards, you take the 5 yards. If they're going to give you 25 yards, you take whatever the defense gives you, you want to exploit and you want to take advantage of that. And you want to make sure you use that opportunity because, you might not get that back.
I'm not going to say that we deserve to be on the coaching staff, but during halftime we said time of possession, moving the chains, big for Lane, and that's exactly what they're doing on this drive. as they pick up another first down. Reynolds with the snap, hands it off to Hill, and Hill does some damage as he gets the ball and he hits the hole on the left side, picks up about 7 yards on the play.
Yeah, and let me tell you what I like what Lane's offense is doing. What Lane's offense is doing right now is they're gassing the defense. But when the defense stays on the field, as long as they have thus far, that they get exhausted. They get tired. No defense wants to be on the field longer than they have to. So for them to keep kind of hitting them with quick dingers and first down here and 6 yards and now I'm going to come try to run you over. All of these little things add up and affect the defense.
So far it's a 4-minute drive. This time they're going to run the ball again, not picking up as many yards this time. It's going to be about 3rd and 5 coming up right here. But you said it. That's what? 4 minutes of game time, but real time here, they've been on the field for almost 10 minutes.
Exactly, and you're going to see guys eventually start putting their hands on their hips and trying to gas for a little bit of breath, as you see right now. A lot of guys got their hands on their hips. They're getting tired, and in these 3rd and 5 situations, 3rd and mediums, these are key downs for offense and the defense, because if a defense can make the stop, then that gets them off of the field quicker.
Sorry about that surge there, trying to move some courts around. Reynolds going to hand the ball off to his back again. They're going to be very, very close to a first down. Depends on the spot. But it looks like it's 4th down coming up, so another 4th and short. And, man, if I'm Lane, I'm just going to stay on the field. I'm keeping the offense on the field.
Definitely, yeah. If you coach Burrows, I think you have to go for it here. You looking at about 4th and 4 yards to pick up. And, the special teams has kind of been struggling a little bit here early on. I think, you got to go for it. You got to try to get the first down. And you see the defense is still on the field, again, which is what I said. They don't like to be on the field too long.
Right.
So if you want to kind of gash them, see if they can make a mistake or, again, draw somebody off sides, that's another key here. But definitely a good move here to go for it. 4th
and 3 coming up here. Reynolds in the backfield. He's joined by Hill. Jeffrey, haven't seen him in the game yet. I'm a little surprised. Reynolds gets the snap. He is swarmed by the Maroon Tigers, trying to stay on his feet, but he has nowhere to go. He is sacked. Big number 99 and number 28 team up on that tackle. Number 28 for the Maroon Tigers, Edward Nelson, and number 99, Trevon Lucky. And, Nelson wasn't lucky on that one. Reynolds wasn't lucky on that one, excuse me. And we got a man down for the Tigers. I believe that's number 14. Micaiah Page, the defensive back out of Maryland, is down on the field right now. And he is in a lot of pain. Well, that's going to be a 4th down turnover for the Tigers. We're going to take a 1-minute break here on 105.3 Fox Sports Jackson. You're listening to Lane College Football. All right, a first down play for the Morehouse Maroon Tigers goes absolutely nowhere, so we're going to have 2nd down and 11 coming up after the injury. The young man was able to go off the field pretty much under his own power, so we like to see those things.
Yeah, definitely a great thing to see. On the first play, we had a sack there by Mr. Collins. It was just a great play. It was a muggy play. It started off bad, it looked like, for Morehouse, as they had 10 men on the field and rushed one out. And this looks like we got the bunch quads look again here for Morehouse.
They're going to stay with what they're doing. There's a pump fake by Sims. He's going to go deep. He has a man on the sideline. And is that a reception? They're going to say he was out of bounds on the play. Nice route there ran by number 5, Amir Smith. And this second time they've tried that a couple of times. One time with a lot of success for the touchdown in the corner. That time, what do you got to do if you're Lane to make that adjustment?
Well, if you're Lane, you have to start looking at providing some help, at least on the backside. Number one, especially when you consider, the cornerback has gotten beaten on one-on-one opportunities a couple times here. He got lucky there another time, as could have been a potential big play catch. But every time they give you that quads bunch look and then they isolate a receiver to the weak side of the football field, it's really just a matter of everybody staying disciplined, it's playing sound football and taking care of their assignments.
All right, Sims out of the shotgun again. He's looking to pass. Nope, he's going to tuck it and he's going to run it. He has a lot of green and he slides down a little bit before the first down marker, but they're going to spot him very close. You don't see that a lot in college. He slid. That was the right play.
Yeah, smart play. But he also has to be careful there, too. It looks like he could have potentially slid just a hair too soon. But it looks like the refs are going to give him the first down on the play.
Yeah, I think that's a generous spot there, but, I mean, it was a nice run. So he does get the first down. So once again, moving the chains, 8 minutes left to go in the third quarter of play. So Lane did a good job of controlling the clock. They kept the ball away from the Maroon Tigers, but now the Maroon Tigers are on the move, and Lane's defense has to button up just a little bit.
Yeah, he gave up a couple. It looks like one or two first downs thus far. If they could do it. I want to see if they can get a turnover. I think that's what I'm looking for.
They don't have a turnover today, you're right.
Exactly. I want to see, 5 turnovers last game. So if they can get a turnover thus far, and you see a big run there by Sims as he comes close to picking up the first down. But if they can get a couple turnovers, maybe one turnover, they just have to start there and maybe a strip, whether it be an interception, a forced fumble, something to invigorate this crowd and kind of get the offense uplifted a little bit.
That's one thing about those big plays, those gas plays you're talking about. It gets the crowd involved at minimal time, big times at one time. But they want to cheer today for their Lane Dragons. They want to see a victory. Once again, Morehouse on offense, receiver in motion. You got trips to the right. One man out on the island by himself. Bailey gets the ball, and Bailey is snatched down in the backfield. That was a huge tackle for a loss there by number 55, Tavion Turner. Oh, excuse me.
33.
33.
Brown.
I don't think an offensive lineman made that play. Cameron Brown with a great tackle, great pursuit there, taking down the big running back.
I'll tell you what, he seems to be one of their defensive captains, especially up front. I want to say he's a senior, but he's showing his experience and he's showing his strength and he's able to get in the backfield and make plays, and that's got to be a bright spot for Lane's defense.
All right. Well, it wasn't a turnover, but that was the big play you were talking about. It knocks Morehouse back. Let's see how they can recover now. Sims drops back to pass, looks over the middle. He finds a receiver wide open. That's a large chunk of yards there, my friends. And he is picking up before he is taken down by number 5. That was Demarius Pitts, but not before he picks up about 20 yards on the play.
And that's somebody there for the Lane's defense that they have to keep their eye on. See, the thing with Morehouse's offense is, like you mentioned, they have so many weapons, whether it be at receiver or at running back. They have a ton of weapons. So if you fall asleep and even, not pay attention to one guy, that was Tremel Good in there, they can exploit you. They will exploit you.
We haven't said his name all day except for one drop, and you see there, that's a big chunk of yards right out of that slot position.
Yeah, and it looks like here we getting a cover 1 look from Lane's defense, which means we're manned up all around. So let's see if Morehouse, if they don't, it looks like we're going to get a call for a holding here.
Yeah, Sims decides to keep that ball. I didn't mean to cut you off there. Apologies. No problem. But you're right. They had the one-on-one coverage. They've been burning the cornerbacks all day. Why not take another shot? But Sims trying to do it himself, and this time it's going to be a hold.
And you got to figure here, at some point, Lane's defense they're not comfortable in that look. They have to go to different looks and show different coverages and disguises or whatever. But probably staying in a cover 1 or cover 0 and manning up all around probably isn't the best thing to do, especially with such elusive weapons on the offensive end of the ball for Morehouse. So I'm just curious to see if Morehouse decides to take what the defense gives them and tries to at least exploit it once or twice.
Well, you got to play with your personnel strength in mind, but you also have to think about the other side and what they do well.
Yeah, and as you can see here, it looks like we're probably going to get another guy in motion, and there he goes. But they gave him a cover 2 look.
And this time Sims unable to find a wide open Dunn into the flat, so it was overthrown. That's a big play. So you've got the penalty followed up with a blown pass there. Lane needs to capitalize on this momentum.
Yeah, and that's why that third down play, excuse me, third down. That's why that first down play was so crucial for Morehouse's offense, where I thought they could have potentially taken advantage of what they were given, and they didn't. They gave Lane's defense a chance to make the adjustments and cover up, some of the holes or where they saw it could have potentially got beat. And that, now they find themselves in the second and long.
All right, second down and long to go. I believe it's about second and 20 right now for Morehouse. Sims, the sophomore, been under composure for most of the day. He's going to have to make something happen here. Quick hitter. He finds his receiver out in the flat, picks up about 9 yards on the play. That was number 11, Ryan Edwards, the tight end out of Atlanta, Georgia, who we have not said his name all day, but once again, another weapon for Morehouse.
Yeah, and he had the touchdown. He had the touchdown to end the first half.
That's right.
But no, look, we really haven't said his name other than that. I think that was the one time we said his name and the one time he got into the end zone. But especially down, once you start moving towards the red zone area, he is definitely a huge threat to keep an eye out for.
Already got two receivers out to the left, running back in motion. Sims drops back. He looks over the middle. He has a man. What a catch there by Tramel Gooden. There is not much you can say about the defensive lane there. They did everything right. That catch was just better. Touchdown, Morehouse.
I mean, oh my goodness, what a play. He just went up and grabbed it over Tulane College football defenders. I mean, there's really nothing much more you can say about that. We just spoke to it a second ago. When you let receivers get open and when you let them kind of get their mojo going, they have the most swag out of anybody on the football team. So, once you kind of let them get one catch under their belt, they're going to loosen up. They're going to get a little bit more warm, and they're going to want to make plays and get involved a little bit more. And that's clearly what you saw there. He just wanted it.
The extra point is on the way. The extra point is good. 3 for 3 on the day. That is 21 points for Morehouse. And now we're starting to see why that offense did what it did last week.
I mean, just weapons. Weapons galore they have. And like we always have said, all today, they have a ton of weapons. Just weapons, weapons, weapons. And even if you just slip just the one little bit of time, they're going to beat you. They're going to get you. They're going to gas you. And that's what they did there. I mean, it wasn't necessarily a play that they were wide open and just converted on. Yeah. But, he saw a window of opportunity, and he took it.
Yeah.
And he obviously made the play.
This young man is going to be a really good quarterback in the future. I mean, just a sophomore, the way he stands in the pocket, the composure that he shows. And after having that bad pass 2 plays earlier, to come back and put that pass right on the money where only his receiver can get it. We're not trying to shortchange the throw. The throw was very good by Sims.
Definitely. And the thing about him, too, is that he's a lefty. Lefties in football are like lefties in baseball.
Yeah.
They're very, very cherished. So, if you can find a good lefty in football, it's hard to rush him.
And another thing, everything a lefty does is usually pretty. Even when it's ugly, it's pretty.
It looks better. It's just smoother.
It just looks smoother. Anthony Evelyn on the return, still on his feet. And he is going to be stopped at around the 30-yard line before the referees finally blow it dead. You'd like to see that long dead a little earlier. You don't want to see anybody get hurt. But Lane going to take over at the 30-yard line. They're trailing 21-12 at this point in time. 4:29 left to go in the third quarter. This third quarter is flying by.
Yeah, and as you get time of possession, as you mentioned, coming right out of the half, time of possession. Both offenses have been on the field for long amounts of time, and with that being said, defenses are also on the field as a long time. So, whoever can keep their offense on the field the longest and kind of wear down the defense, especially with it being the second half and especially as we move into the fourth quarter, that'll be the key.
It's a war of attrition, and who's going to fold on either side. Lane bent a little bit there. They broke a little bit on defense right there, but that's still a great offensive play. Lane's offense has to get into gear right now. Reynolds, the senior, going to try to lead his team down the field, but not before the whistle is blown. And I believe we have a delay of game. Might have a delay of game on the offense. The official is about to make his announcement. If he can get his button on. I love that, though. I love that the official asked that the band stop playing music while he makes the announcement. So it's going to be a false start on the offense. So once again, Lane starting off in a hole. That ball's going to be moved back about 5 yards.
isn't that also like an unwritten rule? You got a HBCU and you tell a HBCU band, hey, stop playing. Like, isn't that like an unwritten rule? You can't tell them that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they'll play something in regards to responding to the official the next time they are allowed to play. All right, 5-yard penalty there is going to be taken back. Let's see what Lane can do to capitalize on offense. Reynolds out of the shotgun, joined by Jeffrey in the backfield. Jeffrey gets the ball, and he's making some people miss. He gets about 3 or 4 yards.
Yeah, I don't think that was a weird-looking play. I don't think Reynolds was trying to give him the football. I think Jeffries just snatched it away from him because it was a read option, and he had a lot of daylight open on the backside. And it looks like Jeffries just, decided to take it himself.
And that was weird we talked about the possession before. Did not see Jeffrey a lot on that last possession. I was wondering, it might have been an injury or they just wanted to give a different look, but I would have liked to see him on the field a little bit more.
Yeah, especially considering the fact that they struggled a little bit on that opening drive. They had a lot of time of possession, but it kind of seemed like it was just, possession that just kind of carried on, and it didn't seem like it was going too many places. But definitely Jeffries is a bright spot that they should keep trying to find more ways to incorporate him and get him back going.
The 6', 210-pound junior out of Frederick, Maryland, came out of Fullerton College before he got to Lane. That's a little background on Joshua Jeffrey, who has been a monster today, running the football, 2 huge plays. You know what he reminded me of? And of course, we always go with NFL comps because the NFL is the highest level. A lot of Marshawn Lynch.
Marshawn Lynch. I was thinking Eddie Lacy.
Oh, Eddie. That's another good one. Shout out to the Alabama fans out there. But that's what he reminded me of on those big runs. I mean, young Marshawn Lynch, he still will do it every now and then. But when that guy gets ahead of steam, you're not going to take him down. And when he turns up the jets, it's really hard.
And that's the deceiving thing right there. You so worried about bigger backs and guys like that running you over that when they actually blow past you, you've already given up too much ground, and now you can't catch him. He's just a big man on the move.
All right, the officials have a lot of official conferences today without a lot of action afterwards. So I don't know if they're just talking about what they're going to eat at the steakhouse later on, or if they're going to go to Applebee's and get a 2 for $20. I don't know what they're talking about.
The band might need to start playing again.
4 minutes and 29 seconds left to go in the third quarter. The band has been playing even louder since they were told not to play, by the way.
Shout out to both bands, too, while we sitting up here talking about them. Both bands had great halftime performances. And me and Reggie caught ourselves up here a couple times moving and dancing while we were eating and enjoying the break. So, shout out to both bands.
They were playing this song, I'll never get over you.
Boot up. LMA, boot up.
They were playing boot up. I said, man, that job was singing off. And yes, I did say Junt. I did not go to college to learn that one. I learned that one right in South Memphis. Shout out to Memphis, Tennessee, born and raised. All right, and they're still having a lot of conferences on the field. I wish they would let us know something, and then I might be able to take a break. Once again, big shout out to John back in the studio, holding it down, producing and directing for us at the studio at the Fox Sports Jackson Studios. All right, we are finally ready to play some football. Once again, 4:29 left to go in the third quarter. 21-12 is your score. Morehouse on top of Lane. Lane moving the football, trying to get something going. 2nd and 15. Reynolds dropping back the pass. He has a man wide open over the middle. Oh, my goodness. Probably the sickest man in the football stadium right now is number 89, Dalo Richardson. Freshman wide receiver out of Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Wide open in the middle of the field. That was a touchdown.
Yeah, and you can see the coaches calling him over to the sideline. That's one of those plays right there. It's just you got to make the play. But what I like seeing right now is a couple of his teammates are trying to pick him up and keep him from lowering his head because, the crowd definitely let him hear it. And he had a few coaches that definitely tried to get in his ear and get him down. But this is a great
I love what I'm seeing down here.
Exactly. Great example of his guys going to him and picking him up. And, you just love to see that. That's great.
The whole team showing him love, and then I don't know who that is giving him a big hug over there.
That's Hill.
Yeah, that's exactly what they needed. All right, Reynolds trying to make something. He finds a man wide open in the middle of the field. That's number 15. He's going to try to get the first down. He's going to be just a little short of the first down. That was Makai Grigsby. He's a senior wide receiver out of Marietta, Georgia. Unable to get that first down, but, he is so close to it. If I'm Lane, I'm going for it.
Yeah.
Why not?
And I think what they should do is put both of their big bulls back in the game and, just let them, block either one block and one run or or however you want to play it. But I think they might go back to the quick passes. They could potentially think that Morehouse's defense is expecting to run.
Going for it on 4th down. Reynolds waiting for the snap out of the shotgun, joined in the back. He tries to get the hard count. It's not there. High snap. He has nowhere to go, and he is taken down, and Morehouse sideline is pumped. 34 seconds left to go. I think we have some problems with the clock, but a very, very disheartening drive. It goes from 0 to 60, right back down to 0 for Lane right there.
Yeah, and I think that was an example, seemingly last 2-3 plays, just the offensive line kind of breaking down a little bit. I don't know if it's that they're tired or it's just blown assignments or what the case may be, but, you know, the offensive line just didn't necessarily have the best of drives there, and it showed, especially on the last play, as they gave up the huge sack and the turnover on downs.
And to go back on the play that the ball was dropped, I'm not going to harp on the subject too much. Wasn't the easiest catch in the world, but it's a catch you would think that a college athlete would make, but it was not the easiest catch, so I don't want to paint that picture. All right, trick play here. It's a reverse, a double reverse. Sims throws it long, and he has a man wide open. What a play by Morehouse. The Maroon Tigers take advantage of the situation, and they score in one of the most creative ways I've seen, Tyler.
I mean, what a great play call, especially after a big sack and a big turnover on downs there for the defense. The offense was able to come out and with a big play. I mean, that is a perfectly called play considering the turnovers on downs and the circumstances. And it's one the defense probably should have been aware of considering the fact that Morehouse ran the same trick play last week and scored a touchdown on it.
Sims lines up wide. They go with the reverse, the double reverse. They get it to Sims on the right side of the field. He throws back across the field, finds a wide open Dunn, and that what are you gonna say? That's beautiful.
Yeah, to me that comes down to, as the kick there is good, to me that comes down to film study. I'm pretty sure they watched the film of the trick play, but you know, you just got to know the situation. You got to know what time of the game it is. You got to know the situation, the crowd, the atmosphere, the momentum, and you just have to be ready for trick plays like that, especially when, you know, your momentum is against you. They're going to try to, it's like, you know, those, and they're going to kick you while you're down. They're going to try to kick you while you're down, and that's what they just did. You just got to be ready for that play.
And right now, things have turned on its head quite a bit. They're still trying to talk. And that's the thing. The young man drops that football, and I think everybody tries to rally around him, but the game still has to go on, and the game is played in Morehouse. Going for the jugular, That's what it seemed like.
And while I think that, or not think, while I know that obviously was a huge drop, they followed the play right up with a huge play that came really close to a first down, and it was kind of maybe iffy play call in there to try to go for some kind of pass on a 4th and inches, but especially with two big backs who can get you 1 to 2 yards every play. So, I mean, I think it was
we're not going to do too much second guessing.
Exactly, right.
But I get what you're saying. Believe me, I'm not calling you out at all. And there's a pooch kick, and, Morehouse is going for it. That's a fair catch is called there by number 89, the young man who dropped the ball.
Exactly.
Gets the ball right back, so hopefully that's a good feeling for him. He feels the ball in his breadbasket, and he can come back on the field and try to make some things happen.
And you got to think they did that on purpose. They found 89 and decided to kick it his way. Is
that something football? Is that something you think happens on the field a lot? Because I always wonder about that.
Definitely. I remember in high school specifically, we called the player that we wanted to pick on Mickey.
Okay.
That was our guy, Mickey. We're going to pick on Mickey.
Okay.
And whether he had a bad game the game before us, or if he had a bad game while we were playing them, or if he was just one of their not strongest of guys. You know,
I know what you mean.
We would go after him, and we would attack him and kind of pick on him. Just keep going after him.
All right, Reynolds drops back the pass. The ball is tipped right before it gets to Hampton. Lucky that wasn't picked off, but I like the fact that they're trying to go down the field.
Yeah, and I think what they ought to do now is they need to reestablish their running game. They need to get their two big backs going who had the big first halves and see what that can open up, because throwing the ball right now isn't necessarily the best of options considering the way the momentum is swinging thus far, but I think if you are going to throw the ball, you should go to more of a play action look as opposed to trying to throw the ball into a pretty amped up defense right now.
All right, once again, spread formation, trips out to the right. They're going to give it to Jeffrey. You called it. Jeffrey gets the run, and he picks up a large chunk of yards. You're right. get this guy the football. He's in the zone today.
Yeah, and as I just said, that your running game thus far has got you, to the point that it has, up until this point here. That's your bread and butter. You need to go back to the run. I would like to see another run play from Jeffries here, but go to your bread and butter. If it works, don't go away from it. You keep hitting that and you keep going to that until you have to make the adjustment or go to some kind of play action or something out of it.
14 unanswered points by the Maroon Tigers. Has the Lane Dragons on their heels. Let's see what happens here at the snap. Reynolds is going to keep the football. He's going to drive forward for the first down. He's going to be really close. Looks like a bad spot. I'm not going to say a bad spot. Doesn't look like a very accurate spot, but they're going to go ahead and call it a fourth down play right here. And you're right. Give it to your big back.
Yeah, and especially in short yardage situations, I wouldn't necessarily run my quarterback in those situations for the simple fact that he doesn't necessarily have the stock, and he's not as stout as the bigger backs are. It looks like we're probably going to get a quarterback sneak here, which is the smarter move to do as opposed to going to a shotgun.
And not a very good snap.
But they just not a good snap and didn't get the push.
I think Jeffrey tried to push him forward at the last second. I think they might get the spot for the first down.
It looks like we got one ref pointing first down Morehouse and the other ref pointing first down Lane.
So once again, the officials have to get on the same page.
They're probably going to spot this.
And they're going to have to measure it right now. Morehouse is calling for the change to come out.
Measure, yeah.
And the side judge is saying, hold on right quick. I think I know what I did. I know where I spotted it. Let's go ahead and give them the first down, but we're going to check in right here. 1:51 left to go in the third quarter of play. 28-12. 28-12. Morehouse on top, and just a lot of unanswered points in a very short time span.
Well, I'll tell you what, Reggie, if this first down here goes in favor of Morehouse, I think we keep our eyes open for them to try to blow this game wide open and expand on that lead there. But definitely, I think Lane probably momentum-wise needs this to swing in their favor.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say it's a do or die possession, but you're right.
It's definitely huge. It's a big play.
All right, and they're the chain gang coming out. And let's see what we're looking at right here as they get the spot going. And oh wow, 1 inch. If I had to, I'm telling you, that was literally 1 inch. Lane comes up short. Lane comes off the field a little dejected. Morehouse is pumped up. You're right. That was a big momentum.
And I know I just looked at you like, oh my goodness. But that's a tough break there for the Lane College Dragons. But now you gotta, if you're the defensive coordinator, you gotta try to get your defense going. You gotta try to invigorate them in some way, shape, form, or fashion. And this is not a demoralizing situation here. This is a situation most defenses should be amped up about, trying to come out here and make the stop, turn the tides, and see if they can make the game kind of go and work in their favor.
One thing we have not seen from the Dragons that we saw a lot of last week was a defensive pressure, sending a blitz every now and then. With all these weapons, I guess it's hard to do. Morehouse with their running back in the backfield, Dunn's going to get it. He's going to keep it himself, and he's going to pick up about 5 yards on the play. So they're going with a little wildcat.
Yeah, and I think with Morehouse going to that wildcat formation, you can definitely tell they're going for the juggler here. And they're going for for what could potentially be a knockout shot if they're able to get into the end zone. But definitely a smart move by their coach as this is probably the time to go for it.
90 seconds left to go in the quarter, in the third quarter of play. And once again, you have a running back. Okay, there's Sims right there. So the quarterback is in the backfield now, joined by Bailey this time. You have a receiver out to the right. You got the slot. You have Trammell in the slot, Trammell Gooden in the slot, and we're going to see exactly what Morehouse wants to do here. Of course, they're letting the play clock wind all the way down. The clock is their friend. All right, receiver in motion. Looks like Knuckles in motion. They're rolling out to the right. Now they're going to counter, and it goes nowhere. Good job there by Lane's defense. Big number 95, Dexter Collins. We've been saying his name a lot today.
Yeah, he's definitely his way to stay home, because what I thought Morehouse probably should have done is they should have probably kept going to the rollout. And they had 3 receivers wide open on the strong, not wide open, but they had 3 receivers on the strong side that I felt like they could have potentially gotten the football to, especially with it being a cover 1 defense.
Right.
The safety can only get over to help 1 man, and that leaves 2 other men one-on-one with their cornerback. So, it was just one of those plays that it didn't necessarily work out well for the offense, and the defense played it to perfection.
Sometimes you can get too cute on offense, and I mean, with a 28-12 lead, I guess they're feeling themselves just a little bit. 13 seconds left to go in the third quarter, and the official throws the flag down. They whistle it dead. 11 seconds on the game clock.
Trying to see if they're. I want to know what the flag is. I don't think it was 12 men on the field, and I don't think it was a delay of game.
And here's the official response from the head referee once he talks a little bit more. The band's not playing, though. They said they want the clock spotted back to 19 seconds. So that's how much time is left on the game clock. Sims approaching the line of scrimmage. Offensive line has been doing a great job for Morehouse today, too. I want to shout them out. Sims has not been under a lot of pressure, but you also got to thank his weapons for that as well. Here's the snap out of the shotgun. Sims looking downfield. A lot of room to run. He's going to do it, and he's going to pick up about, well, he's going to get back to the original line of scrimmage and pick up about 3 more yards after that.
Yeah, and speaking on Morehouse's offensive line here, I want to kind of give like a special shout out to number 62, Gene Syriac, who's a 6'2", 300-pound junior. He's actually on the Black College Hall of Fame watch list.
Oh, wow.
And he was also selected as the preseason SIAC all-conference player. So, you know, that's definitely one of the bright spots for them is they have a pretty successful offensive line, both on and off the field.
All right, time is winding down. They let it go off the clock. We're going to the fourth quarter. We're going to take a 1-minute break, and then we're going to come back with fourth quarter action here on 105.3 Fox Sports Jackson. This is Lane College football. How we doing on the breaks, John? We good? You say we're done with the spots? I can barely hear you. Okay, good, okay. All right, that's awesome. That's all I wanted to make sure we got them in.
We done with spot.
Got all of them in. Man, it is strong in here right now. There's been a lot of sweat, a lot of people running. I'm glad I put on that extra. Yeah, I'm making sure it ain't me. I mean, it might be a little bit of me. I apologize if it is. It smells like the locker room in this one. All right, we're back here live at the Dragon's Den, and here's a punt by Morehouse. Pooch punt. Looks like it's going to take a lane bounce, and it's going to be down at about the 20-yard line. So Lane, they just got to get they got to get their heads together, man. They got to put together something on the offensive end. You need another big play, but you need to get points on this possession if you're the Dragons.
Yeah, I think they should definitely look for the big play, especially early on. I think if they work for a big play early on, I think it could probably fare well for them. While a long, sustainable drive would do them some justice, as it could potentially put some points on the board. I think now they're gonna have to, as the time starts dwindling down, it's gonna be an enemy for them.
14:50 on the clock. That's how much time the Lane Dragons have to mount a comeback. 28-12 is your score. Reynolds, I would like to see him in the open field a little more, getting him in the open field a little more. Reynolds with the snap, looking to his left. He's going to find his man, Ahmad Isaac, who we have not said his name much today. He's going to pick up a large chunk of yards close to a first down, but not before Laundry gets on the field.
It looks like they're going to get number 15 there, Micah Griggs, before holding, if I saw that correctly.
And I'm looking at some of the third quarter statistics, and you see Joshua Jeffrey, 167 yards overall, but in that quarter, not much action, and I would have to think that has something to do with Lane's ineptness on offense.
Yeah, definitely. Like, you know, once they started running the ball and going to their ground attack a little bit more heavily, they started finding themselves some success.
Yeah.
And that's how they were able to open up some things on offensive end for them.
Balance is the key, and I'm looking at Reynolds and the numbers he's put up so far, 6 of 11 on the day for 31 yards passing.
And
We
that,
we got to find some kind of balance with that running game.
yeah, and I'm sorry, there wasn't a holding on the play. It was it looks like a sideline warning, or it wasn't a warning. I think they actually called it against them. Uh, but yeah, Reynolds, he has to get going, especially here in the fourth quarter. Time is of the essence. 31 yards passing is not going to get the job done, and they're fortunate enough to only find themselves down a couple scores. So if he can get something going here in this fourth quarter and maybe get to at least 100 passing yards, I think they could potentially find themselves in a successful position.
All right, here we go. We got Jeffrey in the backfield with Reynolds. You got Ahmad Isaac out right. Let's see if he goes back to his number one receiver again. He looks left, nothing there. He puts a juke move on one person, picks up a big gain. He gets to the 30-yard line, and that is very close to the first down. I believe we got 3rd and 4 coming up.
I mean, that just makes your quarterback so much of an asset when he can get out in space and make a DB miss. When he can try to shuck and jive and make a little quick shake move and make a defensive back miss. I mean, that's a great asset to have. He gets you out of so much trouble with his legs, and it goes back to that Michael Vick ability.
And that's why I brought up earlier, getting him in space. We need some plays to get Reynolds in space so he can create, because that's where they had the most success last week. This time, he's going to find his receiver out wide left, a nice stiff arm there, but the ball pops out. But I think the referees are going to rule it down, or no, they're going to say that
Morehouse.
It's Morehouse football. And that is a fumble there by Ryan Whitaker. He had the pass, making his turn up field, went for the stiff arm, and Whitaker is still down on the sideline right now.
Yeah, you got to hope Whitaker is okay after he took a huge shot, a huge blow to what looked like was the knee or the lower body area of him.
All right, we're going to go ahead and take a 30-second break here as we have an injury timeout on the field. Hopefully Whitaker's all right. We're going to take a 30-second break back at the studio, and we'll be right back with Lane College football. That turnover hurt. Said turnover hurt. They scored those points so quick. I mean, it was 14 to 12 with like 5 minutes left in the third. Well, good news, Whitaker leaving off the field under his own power, a slight limp, but you always like to see that. You don't want to see anybody carried off.
Yeah, definitely a great sight to see as he's able to get off. Just thoughts and prayers, and hope he's okay, and he can hope he gets a speedy recovery.
All right, 13:34 left. Morehouse with the ball in great field position. They could really put this game far out of reach right here. As Sims out of the shotgun, joined in the backfield by 2 new running backs. Sims with the bootleg finds a man out in the flat. That's number 33. He is a big back, and he just picked up a big first down. That was number 33 on the carry, on the catch, Trevion Baker, fullback. First time we've seen him. That's another weapon.
Not only is he a weapon, he's a big weapon. He looked like a guy you don't want to get in the way of, because if he lower that boom on you, you might feel it.
Yeah. And I might have said the wrong name. Might have been, I'm going to find it in a second.
No, I believe it was Trevion Baker.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
6'1", 235.
Yeah. And this time they hand the ball off to number 27 on that play. That was Ronald Bradley, 6 foot, 205-pound sophomore out of Douglasville. He doesn't pick up any yards, but that just goes to show you they got 2 more big backs that they can break out at any time they want to.
And that's what makes them so special on the offensive side of the football, the weapons. And, down here in the goal line, in the red zone, you just have to think that they're going to probably try to just keep going ground and pound, melt a little bit of the clock, and eventually they're going to take a shot at the end zone.
Once again, the Lane Dragons defense hasn't been bad. They've held this team to about 275 yards of total offense compared to the 500 they put up last week, but still, it's a lot of weapons out here. We got another timeout on the field. 12:30 left to play. Let's take another break. Let's go ahead and take another break because we didn't take a lot of them early on, so we're going to take a 30-second break, and we'll be back with even more Lane College football here on 105.3 Fox Sports Jackson.
Welcome back, folks. Here with Tyler Newkirk as we coming off of a Lane College timeout there for the defense. As Morehouse's offense tries to punch the ball into the end zone here. We're starting this second down off on the 13-yard line. It appears to be, the 15-yard line. I'm sorry about that. Looks like Morehouse snapped the football in what looks to be a weird play. Laundry here on the football field. Looks like it could potentially be some sort of snap infraction.
No, the band was playing. That's what threw him off.
The band again.
So
the band again.
And that's what I heard the Morehouse coaches talking about. We should not get a penalty because the band was playing, and that's exactly what happened. All right, 28-12 is your score. There's the snap. Sims going back across the field, finding another wide open man. It's his tight end, and that, my friends, is another touchdown. Ryan Edwards, his second touchdown of the day.
And there goes that name again. It goes back to what I was saying. We didn't hear his name too often in the first half, with the exception of his one touchdown. But he's shown that he's having a huge second half thus far. And like I said, he's one guy you should always keep your eye on, especially in the red zone, with him being one of their offensive leaders.
But you had to look at the play call right there. That was a nice play call, rolling out to the right, coming back across the field, wide open for the second time today.
Yeah, and that goes back to that focus and that discipline. If you're on the backside, it's as simple as doing your responsibility and staying home. If all 11 guys do their responsibility, then there's no way that mistake can happen.
S. Delamora with the extra point. He's hit every one of those today.
I like the way you think that S. Delamora. It's just
I don't know, man. It's a cool name. If that's the way you pronounce it, I think that's what we said early on.
Is that name cooler than Reese Knuckles?
I don't know, man. Reese Knuckles is made of Knuckles with an N. It's so awesome. Knuckles with an N and 2 C's.
See, and I'm from Chicago, so if you're from Chicago, then you know house music.
Okay.
So when I hear Knuckles, I think of
Bumpy Knuckles?
the legend. Well, you got Bumpy Knuckles, but I think of the legendary Frankie Knuckles, the house music DJ who passed away. So God rest his soul.
Yeah.
But that's who I think of when I hear Knuckles. So that's the first thing that pops into my head.
I'm glad you did that transition to where you're from, because right now this score is turning into one of those games where we're gonna have to fill up 12 minutes and 19 seconds with a little banter, unless strange things have happened. Lane returns this kickoff right here. It's still a ball game.
I mean, it's definitely not impossible to come back, but they're definitely going to have to turn things up and turn things up in a hurry.
All right, here's the kick by S. Delamora, and it is way back there, but it's going to be returned by number 17, Evelyn. Evelyn making some people miss. He's calling for some blockers. He's going downfield. There's Laundry on the field, though. He's eventually brought down at the 35-yard line. And the flag is picked up for right now. Well, no, there's a flag there, so maybe a block in the back.
That's what I was thinking. I was scared to call it. They seemed like they were going against a few things I said thus far, but
right.
Yeah, I'm thinking of blocking the back thus far. Oh, right here on this play.
Yep, you got it. So even when something positive happens for Lane, it gets brought back. You just got to keep your composure. And this is when you really find out. I'm not trying to do your job, but I know you play football. Intestinal fortitude. You hear that a lot. What are you going to do in the face of adversity if you're Lane? Are you going to buckle and let this thing turn into something like laughable? Or are you going to bend down the hatches and you're going to still play solid football? This is what you practice all week for.
Exactly, and that's when it comes down to what kind of man are you? Are you a man to fold under pressure, or are you a man to, stand up and at least show some kind of fight?
All right, let's see if they're ready to fight here. Reynolds with the snap. He's looking downfield again. He finds a man a little underthrown there for number 15, Makai Grigsby. He's unable to haul that in, so it's going to be 2nd and 10 coming up for Lane.
Looks like could get a roughing the passer here on the defense.
You got it. So at this point in time, if you're Lane, you're just looking for anything positive, right?
Definitely. You're looking for any kind of positive spark you can get, you want to take advantage of. And like I said a few minutes ago, you want to look to take your shots early, especially early in the fourth quarter when you're down and you're searching for something. Any kind of big penalties like that to get you a lot of yardage can open up your game, or they should open up your playbook. And when you see different opportunities, you got to take them. You just have to.
I would even try another one of those famous Aaron Rodgers plays, pass interference downfield, just chunk it. And but you got to have time for your offensive line. At that time, Reynolds drops back. He's brought down in a hurry, but another flag. We could get another roughing the passer penalty. But right now, it's just looking like a sack.
Oh, it looks. See,
personal foul.
And see,
on
that goes to the composure. That's the same thing that killed them last week. After they would have a big play, they will lose their composure and get a 15-yard penalty. And those are just killers because now these are going to offset, and you're going to be back in the same position that you were just in. So, they already had a roughing the passer. You can't afford to, or a face mask or whatever they want to call it. It's a 15-yard penalty. You just can't afford to do stupid things like that. You got to keep your head, especially as a senior leader, and lead by example.
And you start seeing the frustration all over the sideline. I'm seeing a lot of coaches taking their visors off and kind of being demoralized. But there has to be some source of leadership, and I think Coach Burrows does a pretty good job of staying locked into the game. So it was definitely a face mask on Morehouse. That was the penalty, and then the sportsmanlike conduct on Reynolds. And I don't understand why Reynolds was so upset. Maybe he heard something.
I mean, it's just that to me, if I were the coach, that's just unexcusable. That just can't happen, especially when you're a senior and you one of the leaders on the football team. That's just a mistake that cannot happen, especially when you're already fighting an uphill battle.
And I'm just gazing down on the sideline, trying to give the people at home an idea of what we're seeing. Lane is a little rattled. I see a couple of players jawing back and forth with each other. Somebody has to step up and be a leader. I think Reynolds, he'll go back, and we talked about it before the film session. They're probably not going to want to watch a lot of this, especially this end of the third quarter, beginning of the fourth. But you got to learn and you got to grow from it.
Especially, and that's what I'm curious to see. Who's going to be the guy right now to step up and to take over the reins and to show that this comeback is possible. Is it a coaching a member of the coaching staff? Is it one of the leaders of the team, or what can happen as you get the sack here on Reynolds by number 19?
Reynolds tried to go with a bootleg out to the right. There was nothing there, and he was swarmed by the Maroon Tigers, who it's almost like the Pac-Man ghost. Like when the ghost turned blue and Pac-Man's going after him, that's exactly what the Maroon Tigers are doing right now. They're just gobbling up all the pellets.
And I tell you what, their defensive end right there, number 19, Will Calloway, that is one of their studs. He's the same guy last week that sacked University of Arkansas Pine Bluff's quarterback and forced the game-winning fumble.
All right, Reynolds drops back. He's getting swarmed again, but this time he's standing on his feet. His lineman got in his way a little bit. He's coming out wide, but he has nowhere to go, and he's eventually tackled at about the 31-yard line. And how old did I make myself sound with that Pac-Man reference? I guess I should have said something about Fortnite or something.
See, I haven't gotten with Fortnite. I don't understand the obsession with Fortnite. They even have Fortnite tutors.
It's free. That's what I know.
Wow.
Like, I don't know when my son just started playing a new game, and I'm like, what are you doing?
But see, where they get you, you still got to pay on the in-app or the in-game purchase.
Yeah. Get the stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, that's how they get you, because I didn't know. He better not be purchasing anything on my credit report, because it's nothing there. There's nothing there. I think my Cash App is dry right now, so I hope he's not trying to order something there. We have a stoppage on the play. If it sounds like we're just bantering at this point, the referees are doing what they've been doing all day. They're just talking, having a good time. And the score is 35-12. 11:06. This is the longest 4 minutes I've ever experienced in my life. And I had to go down to the DMV one time and get my license renewed. And this is still the longest.
Yeah, that's saying something. DMV. Multiple fouls.
All right, we got holding. We got holding on the defense. Illegal block in the back by the offense. I love the official trying to remember everything he just discussed.
But this is, I'm sorry, cut.
Go ahead.
It's like this is just turning into just one of those games that's full of high frustration and just high intensity that's not necessarily in the most of positive ways. And,
Right.
and that's what you don't want to do if you're Lane. Like I just meant, especially fighting an uphill battle. If you're Morehouse's defense, you can get away with it. But Lane has to try to be smarter and have the cooler heads. And I mean, it's just, some of this stuff is kind of just getting silly.
It's been 4 minutes and the lane and the ball has moved 2 yards. The ball has moved 2 yards in 4 minutes. 10:56 left to go in the fourth quarter of play. Reynolds out of the shotgun again. This time he's just going to hand it off to the big man, Joshua Jeffries, who's trying to get out wide, but this time it is not going down. Number 3, Antonio Johnson, the 6'3" senior defensive end out of Birmingham, Alabama, makes a nice tackle.
Yeah, and it's just it seems like things here just kind of starting to slowly unravel as you got, some of the coaches, like you just mentioned a second ago, headsets off, and seems like they're kind of on the players, and a lot of the players walking around with their heads down. And who's going to be that guy that tries to step up and say, hey, we still have time to come back, and we still have time to get in this football game?
10:20 left to play in the fourth quarter. Reynolds once again out of the shotgun, drops back, 4-step drop, looks over the middle, finds a man, nice catch, nice pitching catch there. Number 15 with the reception, that was Grigsby, and it doesn't even get him back to the line of scrimmage though.
Yeah, defense is going to see if they can, or they're going to have to try to get some kind of turnover here. I don't foresee Morehouse putting the ball in the air too much here.
Wouldn't make much sense, would it?
Exactly, with 9:50 left in the fourth. So I think the defense is definitely going to have to try to get some strips here and go for the football.
I would even go for the fake punt. But
Anything.
They don't have the personnel on the field right now, but I would have left like a fast receiver. I would have left Hampton out there. I would have went for it. High snap for Pena, goes over his head. He goes down, and he's at like the 7-yard line, and that's just not good for the Lane Dragons because, Morehouse has perfect field position to put some more points on the board.
Yeah, it's just seems like it's just one of those things. It's just stuff is just kind of unraveling, and things are just falling apart here. And it looks like going to have some kind of unsportsmanlike conduct on. Looks like Morehouse is.
Well, you definitely want to keep your composure if you're Morehouse. We keep talking about Lane and how when it rains it pours, but Morehouse, you don't want to do anything silly right here. You don't want to get anybody thrown out of the game. You don't want to have any fights started because there's a lot of frustration on this Lane sideline.
Yeah, and while the lead is what it is and the deficit is what it is for Lane right now, anything can happen. Things could turn. They can get a fumble and maybe a scoop and score for a touchdown. I mean, anything could happen thus far. And to your point of Morehouse keeping their composure, they have to close with composure and close like they've done it before.
Well, they've been here before.
Right,
they
exactly.
got a win last week. And you got to think about it. These are still real-life human beings. We always talk about these players like they're not. This is the video game era, the social media era. These are still human beings, coaches included, that put their all into the preparation every single week. As a football player, you put your all into it, it's going to be natural frustration. But I love to see Coach Burrows still coaching hard. You know what I'm saying? Because he knows we can't let all that preparation go out the window. We got to get better for the next week.
Exactly, and I'm glad you just brought that up with the next week part. That's also another really key thing. If necessarily, let's say you may not necessarily win this football game. I'm not speaking about this one,
Right,
but just
I
in
got you.
general, closing out with some kind of a strong performance can help build momentum going into the next weekend, and you can start that game off with more energy and more. What's the word? More confidence. Yeah, more of a boost going into that game. So, it's definitely wise.
You got to have a short-term memory in football when it comes to these games, but you got to remember the stuff that you need to work on.
Definitely.
All right, Maroon Tigers back on the field, 9:29 left to go in the fourth quarter of play. Sims gets the ball, hands it off to the big back, number 27, and he looks like he is close to the end zone, or he's going to be right around the goal line. That was number 27, Ronald Bradley.
Yeah, Ron, the 6 foot, 205 back sophomore out of Douglasville, Georgia. He's also the same back that had the 1-yard touchdown last week against UAPB early on in the first quarter. So he's definitely somebody that they like in the red zone, especially short yardage situations.
And how awesome is that for Morehouse to have that many options at the running back position? You got Dunn, you got Bailey, now you got Bradley.
Yeah, you still got Sims. You got all 4 of your wide receivers. I mean, it's the abundance of talents that they have, and it's just incredible.
And some of these guys, you look how they're big. You wonder why they're not higher up in Division One with their size and their speed and their strength. They got a good team here, man. All right, Sims with the snap, handing it off to Bradley again. He moves the pile, and it looks like it's a close call. Are they going to call him down at the 1? They're got to clear the people out of the way. It might be another touchdown. Nope, they're going to call him down at the 1-foot line.
I'll tell you what, the defense got really fortunate there because Morehouse got a great push from about the 3-yard line going up until it looks like the rush called it the 1.
8 minutes left to go in the game as the clock continues to wind down. The clock is the friend of Morehouse. Don't look for them to speed up anytime soon.
Nah, you got to think they're going to take their time here. Probably go all the way down to about 1 or 2 seconds here just to kind of further run the clock down some more. But they're essentially going for the knockout shot here.
All right, and here we go. Sims handed the ball off. This time it's to Bailey, and Bailey is in for the score. That's going to make it 41-12 with the extra point on the way.
Yeah, Morehouse is just, it looks like we got another flag. There's probably going to be an unsportsmanlike conduct on somebody as it's
Tempers are flaring, and if you're the officials, you want to get a hold of this right now because there is too much time to let this game get out of whack.
Yeah, and this is definitely a dangerous situation for both teams, considering how much time is actually left in this football game. There's 7:40 left. To still be getting a bunch of personal foul penalties, and some of these penalties, could potentially determine what happens to a player and/or coach next week. So a lot of these penalties now, I know the refs are going to really get tight on, and all of the jaw jacking and talking back and the things that they do to each other, that's going to really be key.
And you don't want to get a bad reputation for your team this early in the year. Officials are regular people too. They talk. They have a fraternity. You don't want to have people coming in like, hey, keep an eye on that lane team because they lose their composure when they get, you just don't want to have that.
But and also with that, you're going to see a lot of the same refs throughout the conference, maybe not every week, but you will see them at least 3-4 times out of the year.
Exactly.
And they remember.
They remember. And like I said, you don't want to put that on the brain. And here's the official word. Sportsmanlike conduct is going to be against Morehouse. So we're getting on lane, but, Morehouse they're showing out too. So, and I don't know how big a rivalry this is, but Morehouse is one of the, more esteemed HBCUs. Lane is as well. So, there's probably some jaw jacking that went on before the game, and now it turns into something like this, 41-12 right now in the fourth quarter with S. De La Mora set to kick the extra point.
Yeah, and you got to think there's still something there on both sides of the football, considering that Lane lost the heartbreaker last year to Morehouse, which in what was seemingly the fourth quarter. So you got to kind of think that there's something there for Lane. They wanted to get some kind of payback and avenge this loss, but Morehouse, again, are coming off of avenging the loss to UAPV for the past 2 years, and also, they're rolling on a high right now.
Right.
They remember beating Lane last year, so now they're, we already beat y'all once, we're going to beat you again, and that's the mentality it looks like they're probably shown and probably have been talking about the entire game.
You know what I'd like to see as the extra point is on the way? Let's go ahead and call this first, and I'm going to bring up a point I just noticed. The snap, the hold, the kick, it's good. This guy's a good kicker.
Yeah.
He has not missed any of these extra points. 42-12, it's a full 30-point lead right now for the Maroon Tigers. I want to bring up Hill, Justin Hill. I'm watching him along the sideline, and we talked about the energy and how big energy can be, especially on the sideline of a football. He is constantly jumping up and down, keeping his players motivated. I mean, this is not the easiest circumstance to keep people locked in, but I'm watching Justin Hill and the way he's going about his business. That's the kind of senior leadership you need.
Yeah, and I'm definitely, as you just brought that more so to my attention, I'm noticing right now he's pulled the player to the side, kind of just, in his ear trying to bring up his spirits more and more. But, that also makes me think or wonder, why haven't we seen more of Justin Hill here in this second half?
True.
And, it was a two-headed monster in the first half, and in the second half we've seen very little Jeffrey, and now we're seeing what seems to be no Hill at all. So, that also makes me wonder about that there, too.
And that's something we got to, during the course of the week, I'm going to holler at Coach Burrows and maybe pick his brain a little bit to see. During the course of the game, there's so many moving parts.
And that also goes back to show, or goes back to the testament of what you just said about Hill and his senior leadership. The fact that he hasn't really played too much in the second half and is still
motivated.
Yeah, still motivated in the lead and shows something.
Evelyn with the return on the kickoff gets it about to the 40-yard line. That young man that Hill pulled to the side, that was number 41. That was Jeffrey Johnson, a freshman. So that's how you build a winning culture and a winning tradition when the seniors pass along that kind of. Johnson will remember that probably for the rest of his life. It's a random game, but he'll remember that freshman year when Morehouse was, delivering somewhat of a beatdown. He'll remember Hill in his ear telling him, hey, stay with it, stay strong, keep going on, don't give up. So the offense is back on the field. Right now, Reynolds is still out there at quarterback.
Yeah, and hopefully you hope that rubs off on some of the other younger teammates and some of the other teammates just in general, and you hope they kind of get that feel and are able to make some kind of run here or just kind of close this game out and potentially gain a little bit more momentum.
All right, Reynolds going to hand the ball off to the running back, and I believe that is number 21. First time we've seen him today. That is Madarius Trujillo, the 5'7" junior out of Evergreen, Alabama. Trujillo. I'm going to go with Trujillo.
And I mean, what you don't want here if you Lane's offense is you just kind of don't want to go out here and just, go 3 and out, and then that's just that. You want to show a little bit of something. You want to show a little bit of fight and kind of not just roll over and take it and just take the beat down. So, I think this is kind of somewhat of an important drive.
All right, Reynolds finds a wide open Hampton for about 30 yards, and he is still on his feet. He is picking up yardage, and he gets pushed out at about the 18-yard line. So there you have it, looking downfield. Prevent defense by the Maroon Tigers, but still, you got to make the pass, you got to make the catch.
Yeah, and that's a great sign right there. You want to see some kind of bright spot to close this game out and going into the next game. You want to see who's still going to fight for me and with me down, however much we're down, or who's still going to show some fight, who's still going to finish the football game and give it all they got.
6:30 left to go in the fourth quarter of play. That was a nice pass and catch from Reynolds to Hampton. One more time, Reynolds drops back to pass, steps up in the pocket. He launches it to the corner, and that is a touchdown. Beautiful play there by Reynolds as he finds Grigsby in the corner of the end zone he drug the foot. That was beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful too. I mean, he actually got 2 feet down. That's a beautiful shot right there.
Yeah.
He's shaking it up with his teammate. But that was a gorgeous throw, a gorgeous catch. Actually did the NFL standards and got 2 feet down there. But I mean, that was a great play. That's a great drive by the offense. It livens up the crowd a little bit, get the sidelines moving just in a little bit more uplift way. And I mean,
and who cares who you did it against? There might have been some subs there, secondary players from Morehouse, but you still got to keep playing. I was of the ilk where I almost wanted to get Reynolds off the field because you had a long season left, but you were right. As a football player, you don't think about things like that. You just play football, and they're taking a timeout on the field, so we're going to take a timeout on the broadcast. 30-second break right here coming up. There is 6:19 left to go in the fourth quarter. You're listening to 105.3 Fox Sports Jackson. All right, we're back in the Dragons' den, and looks like Lane's going for 2.
Looks like they got their big back heel back in the game, too. I think we might have spoke them up.
All right, 42-18. Let's see what happens here. Reynolds going with the pass to Hampton in the back, and there was a lot of holding of the jersey there, and there's the flag. So they're going to get another chance at going for 2, this time from the 1-yard line.
Yeah, I mean, that was a clear as day. It was holding right there on the Morehouse cornerback. So, they'll move up a little bit closer, and hopefully they could just potentially punch the ball into the end zone.
I was hoping they would give it to Hill again because you're right. You don't want to know how much cheering on the sideline did, but after watching him do that, they come right down and score. You like to see those kind of things. Good energy is rewarded.
Most definitely. And, you could tell he deserved. He didn't have necessarily the best the first half, but he was, again, a part of that two-headed monster that kind of helped their offense get some more points on the board. So it's definitely good to see him out here on the football field.
All right, and that's definitely pass interference, so they'll be half the distance to the goal line, 1 yard line, going for 2 here.
Looked like they called the holding, what was it, pass interference?
Yeah.
On Morehouse defense. It was actually another Vanover.
Another Vanover.
The younger brother.
Tamrick Vanover putting some athletes out on the field. He got beat that time, though. All right, they're at the 1 yard line now. Let's see what Lane can do. Reynolds out of the shotgun. Receiver in motion is Hampton. He goes back to the left side, and Reynolds going to go to Hampton, and that is 2 points. So 42-20. So big, finally on special teams, Lane comes through, and it's a 22-point ball game with 6:19 left to play. Hey, we got to bring out some onside kicks or something. I want to see craziness. If you're Lane, make it crazy, get wild, get silly. Because what's the worst that can happen?
Yeah, this game could. The worst that could happen, you just gonna lose. Absolutely, that's just the worst.
You're already down by 3 possessions.
Exactly. So, at least show that you're trying something. Onside kick, you never know. You can recover it and get it back, and then, who knows what the game looks like at that point. So, definitely, you still got to keep fighting. You still got to keep trying, and you got to pick on somebody right now, and hopefully they recover the onside kick.
You got to find your Mickey.
Your Mickey.
And Pena looks like he's built for onside kicks. I don't know. He looks like he practices those at home in his driveway.
And it looked like, I'm trying to see how he's going to set up the tee now, but it looked like he could be setting it up for an onside kick, or no, maybe it just looks like he's kicking it off. But, yeah, find your Mickey. That actually sounds like a good T-shirt, too. Like, since you get a T-shirt made, find your Mickey.
I like that. I'm going to be saying that probably for the rest of my play-by-play days, sir. So you just contributed. All right, here we go.
It looks like we're going to get an onside kick here.
Yep, got to, man. 6:19 left to go in the fourth quarter. Coach Burrows is a little upset at his team. I don't think they've practiced this a whole lot, but here we go. Pena with the chop step. Nope. He decides to boot it.
Boot it.
I said boot it. Yeah, you're absolutely right. That didn't. Oh, my goodness. What a tackle there made by number 51 for Lane. That was Devin Barnett. He just came off the top rope with a flying clothesline.
My goodness.
And you know what? He's hyped. The team hyped. I'm seeing some smiles now. It's amazing what a little score will do for you.
Yeah, and that's the key. That's the key right there. If anything, you may still lose this football game, even though this is not over, but you want to build some kind of excitement. You want to do something to show your crowd that, hey, we're still fighting for you. We still want to show you that we still care and we still in the football game. And, also more than that, you want to show your teammates that you will still fight for your brother and you will still give it everything you got.
All right. Sims not in the game at quarterback for Morehouse. Number 12 is in now. We'll get his name in just a second. But here's Bradley bouncing it to the outside. He picks up 15 yards on the play. That was number 12 now in at quarterback.
Will Roberson,
the 6'3", 200-pound junior out of Tacoma, Washington. And he looks like he could be a starter. These guys don't look like backups. Their second unit looks just as good as the first unit.
And they have great size. It actually seems like their skill guys are bigger than their O-linemen, or at least taller.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so a lot of backups on the field right now for the Maroon Tigers. Let's see if it comes back to bite them, because a turnover here, 5:39 left to go in the fourth quarter, 42-20 is your score. Lane down at this point in time, but we're going to see what Roberson can do out of the shotgun. He's going to hand it off to Bradley once more, and he's going to go nowhere. He is tackled in the backfield there by number 25 and number 96. That's Kevion Gilmore. And 96 is Stanley Minter out of Orlando, Florida.
You got to think it's time for the Dragons to start going for the football here. You got to expect it.
Yeah, you got to start poking balls loose.
Yeah, it's okay to make the play, and it's okay to make the pause. But it's okay to make the tackle and make the play. But you also got to understand that Morehouse is going to run 40 seconds off of the clock every single play.
Yeah,
so you got to try to start fishing for the football some way, somehow.
You're right. 2 timeouts left for both teams. 10 seconds left on the play clock, and you're right. They're just going to milk this thing on down. The fans standing out a little bit. Shout out to the Tony Dorsett throwback jersey in the front row. Roberson going to hand the ball off, and there's another big gain by Morehouse, and you just can't have that. You got to start poking the ball loose. Number 34 on the run, that is Melvin Idolet. I told you I was going to butcher about 7 more names. I think that's number 6.
Yeah, that was a great run there by the big back. Like you just said, all of them have great size. I mean, you just got to wrap them up in Lane's defense. They look demoralized, and while they are playing against the backups, and it looks like they have the majority of their starters on the football field. I mean, somebody has to step up, especially with them being the starters. You would think it will come from the middle linebacker position. As that's just typically, the position that's the captain on the field for the defense. But
looks like Lane has a few subs in of their own. I don't see Williams out there. A couple of the seniors getting a break. You definitely want to keep people healthy. It's early in the year. Nice tackle there up the middle. Not much going on. 3:35 left to go. So I think, they're kind of mailing it in at this point. At this point, you just don't want to give up any more points if you don't have to.
Yeah, at this point, it's pretty much about pride. You want to see who has the most pride, or not who has the most pride, but it goes back to fight. Who's going to still fight all the way down until it's triple zeros on the clock. And I guess it is really about pride too. You just don't want to kind of go out any old type of way. You want to go out knowing that you gave it your all and you had a pretty strong stance. So I mean, it's definitely this would be a big hole if they can stop them from scoring and even potentially get the football back.
A throwback Wizard Jordan's jersey. Seeing that, I'm in throwback jersey finding mode now. All right, Roberson hand the ball off one more time. Number 34 with the carry. Dialet picks up another first down, and they're just going to keep on moving the chains. They're going to keep on moving the clock. He got out of bounds, though. 2:45 left to go, so they're going to go ahead and run that clock. No reason to stop it now. You've been involved in, I don't know your career, but, I mean, have you been involved in any blowouts or big games like this? How do you respond to what's that locker room going to be like?
Well,
typically?
I would say I'm a little bit more fortunate enough to be on the
Oh, my bad. I didn't
on the delivering end of the blowout.
Hey, I didn't mean to, to call you out for playing for losing teams.
No, I mean.
But Tyler was like, hey, man, hold on now.
No, I mean, I've lost my fair share of games, and I've had teams I've been on that weren't necessarily the best of teams, and, we lost some games, but, we like to give a lot of the a lot of the blowouts out. But, but on the flip side of that, in all seriousness,
right.
It's just about kind of, I've been saying it pretty much the whole time. It's about fighting. It's about pride. You had the adversity. You faced the adversity, or you currently are facing the adversity if you're laying here. It's just about how you stand the adversity, how you withstand the test of somebody continuously driving at you and just kind of pounding at you each and every play. So, I mean, they just have to really just kind of be strong in the way that they finish this game out, both mentally and physically, and kind of erase this from their minds and on to the next game.
Definitely can't be a blame game either, right? When you get in that locker room, you can't have the defense feeling a way about the offense and vice versa.
Oh, definitely. And, I mean, that's common. It's typically a common thought where you want to blame someone. But ultimately, it's a team sport. It's a team game. You can put no one blame on the offense, defense, or special teams. You can just chalk it up as, we went out there, we didn't have the best of days, and we lost.
A minute left on the clock as the time continues to tick down. Third down here. This is probably the second to last play, probably the last play here for the Maroon Tigers. And they're legit. We talked about it coming into the game. Heard about it all week. You heard about the 500 yards of total offense and this and that and the other. And, for one half, Lane held strong defensive. Really for a half and a half of a quarter. Because things basically turned on a dime, which we'll talk about this in the post-game show. We'll have a quick post-game show coming up here at the end, and we'll reflect on the game and all the turning points that happened. But right now, 42-20. They got 42-18, but I'm pretty sure it's 42-20 is your score. 25 seconds left. This is the last play of the game. Morehouse, that's going to be a quarterback keeper for Roberson. He's going to go down, and the time will continue to tick off the clock. I don't think Lane will take a timeout, which is probably the best thing to do. Burrows takes the headset off. And that, my friends, is your ball game. 42-20 is your final score. We're going to take a 2-minute break, and then we're going to come back with our post-game wrap-up here from Lane College Field. So make sure you stay tuned to 105.3 Fox Sports Jackson and Lane College Football.
That is your ball game.